Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bevvies with the Boys. It's season 2, it's episode 2. Everything is 2 as we kick off the first episode within the actual season 11. That wasn't a very good sentence, but who cares? My name is Munchables. I'm joined by Dagda. We are the boys, and today for Bevvies, we're joined by Chronicler, and we're joined by League of Emily Rand. I don't know which one you want to go by. You guys both sort of new kids on the block, but also sort of not new kids on the block. In fact, definitely not new kids on the block. We'll get into all of the nitty gritty of that. But Chronicler, new caster for the LCK, and Emily, new caster for the LCS. Well, caster / analyst desk / reporter / well, I'm sure we'll get into all of that as well. We have plenty of time to go into all of the details of everything. So, as is customary on the show, we're going to start things off by just going around the circle. I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to kind of introduce yourselves a little bit and let us know what you're drinking tonight. So, Chronicler, would you do the honors of kicking us off?
Hi, I'm a Chronicler. No.
Nice.
I was hoping for an early response. No, hi everyone, I'm Chronicler. I'm the new caster for the LCK. If you've paid attention, you've heard hints of me very clearly. Have not casted yet because I'm still stuck in my own country, which is the Great Netherlands. But hopefully by the end of this month, I will be making my way to Korea. And I will be drinking both classic and plum soju.
Nice. Bringing the soju. Very in theme with the LCK. Yeah. Soju's Korean, if I'm not mistaken. Am I just being totally idiotic? Okay, no, nice. Nailed it. Sweet. Yeah. I'm going to skip Dagda. I'm going to go to you next, Emily, if that's okay, because you're the guest. I feel like guests should go first. How are you doing?
Well, I just started my stint on the LCS broadcast as an analyst. I'm not a caster, for those wondering why you don't want me to cast. Like, you just don't. I have tried it. I'm very bad. So, yeah, that's why you will never see me cast unless if it's a very dire situation, maybe I'll volunteer, but it will be bad. Like, just know that. And yeah, I'm also drinking strawberry soju because it's what I had in my fridge, and this is also probably the first time I've day drank because it's noon here since like college and rugby socials. So yeah.
Well, we appreciate you day drinking.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2021. This is where you can start all these new habits, start to figure out new things you want to do. It's as good a time as any, you know.
Great way to start.
Great habit to start.
Yeah, and I'm sure you are heavily underselling yourself there on the casting points. Yeah. But thank you very much for joining us. Dagda, over to you, mate, up in the top corner.
Cool.
What are you drinking tonight, mate?
Yeah, so I'm on the beer that I still can't pronounce. Maybe someone can help me. Pellner. I've been told 3 or 4 different ones. It's German.
Polaner, I think.
Polaner? Okay,
so, yeah.
I'm going to go with that. But yeah, it's one of my favorite ones. I like Weiss beers, so really good. But yeah, I'm good. I'm excited to be on the show. Get to chat to the new guys on the block. I'm very excited to talk to these two. Especially because Emily a while ago had me on when I first started on the LPL, so it's nice to have her on this side of things as well, so it's really cool. And then Chronicler, I've been following a little bit as well, coming up in the Dutch / UK scene, and now getting into LCK, so it's really cool to get to chat to the guys.
Yeah, it feels good as well because we were the new guys on the block literally 12 months ago, so it's it's nice that it kind of comes full circle. And
full circle, yeah.
So I'll just quickly shout out what I'm drinking as well before we start properly, and this one's an important one because I was looking at the list of beers, and we've got some Brewdog Punk IPA. If you know it, you already know how great it is. This is a classic here in the UK. It's a Scottish brewing company, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
They're from Edinburgh, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, somewhere. It's definitely Scotland. You know, it's all kind of it's all just Scotland, isn't it? As far as I know.
Spoken like a true Brit.
There's a lot of Scots that are very angry at me right now. Yeah, the reason I'm drinking Brewdog, I want to quickly shout them out, is because they are turning a bunch of their bars across the UK into places that you can go get the COVID vaccine. They're in the process of doing this. It's not actually open just yet. They're actually making a special beer in commemoration of the event. So big shout outs to Brewdog. Appreciate that you guys are going above and beyond in this time of need. So with that out of the way, let's stop talking about COVID. Nobody wants to talk about COVID. Let's instead talk about some League of Legends, because I believe that's something we all have in common, if I'm not mistaken. let's kick it off. I want to talk about the LCS first, if that's okay, because I think that's the newest, most exciting thing. It's literally just started again, and Emily, you were over there live in person, kicking everything off. Do you want to give us kind of some of the stuff that you're most excited for in the LCS right now, like based on what we've seen so far in the tournament? Because I can't speak for Dagda or Chronicler. I'm not massively up to date on the LCS because I've been absolutely buried in LPL. So do you want to give us like some cliff notes on what's going on over there, what's exciting, like what we should be looking out for in the open tournament?
Well, it's different than LPL for sure. Because every time like I start talking, I have to preface everything with, I don't know if it's because I have LPL brain, but
We're
but yeah,
spoiled
I
over
think
the LPL.
yeah, exactly. I think there's actually a lot of stuff to be excited about in LCS right now. First of all, the lock-in tournament, which I feel like because it started with a single game round robin that people kind of just assume that it's LCS proper, but it's not. So there's kind of an introductory tournament, and I like having that for LCS because it feels like the stakes are high enough that teams are trying, but also not too high where they're afraid to take risks. So it's kind of that sweet spot that you see Kespa Cup and Demacia Cup fall into sometimes, where I mean, not everyone has their full rosters, and or some teams may or may not have had COVID. And we're working out a new we're working out a new patch. So it's kind of like a lower stakes environment for teams to still take seriously, and I think that's been reflected in what we've seen in terms of how teams have performed. Obviously, people are going to have these like incredibly snap judgment reactions specifically around perks and sword art because we know how big the contracts were. But I think I really like that aspect of it. And then the other thing that I know we've covered on broadcast and people should be paying attention to is just the new and or like younger talent that is being given presumably a full chance to actually play on a roster for the entirety of an LCS split at least. I think that's really cool because one of the things that people have ripped into NA, rightfully so, I have been one of these people, is not using their own talent to fill out some of these rosters. And obviously it's difficult because you do have a lot of actual barriers that teams can't get around, right? Like server ping issues and stuff like that. But you also do have like a pretty, teams don't necessarily believe in NA talent, and there are reasons for that. However, I think it was at a point where it was really frustrating because it you didn't see a lot of younger players coming up and actually staying there. So it's been really exciting to watch players like, for example, Insanity, like Niles, and yes, they're making mistakes, right? Like you see them going for these like ridiculous plays where they're just like diving turret and like it doesn't come away like the greatest. But I actually love to see that. I love to see it because NA is so passive usually.
Yeah.
And I don't want that stamped out of these guys. Like I want them to keep doing that.
I watched the EG Immortals game and watching Insanity flash under the turret as Lucian and not get the double shot for the kill, and then Immortals just give over the double. I was like, oh no, this is so sad. But yeah, like it's cool to see these guys actually really getting involved and kind of getting a new depth of talent, because like when you look at like EU Masters and stuff like in Europe and how much talent is kind of bred through there, and you can see like LDLC who's able to compete with the guys that are actually in the LEC, and then you look over at NA and it's just like, well, what have you got? It's kind of like,
Oh, I can hear Kelsey somewhere, like absolutely furious at that statement. I can hear her wrath incoming towards your Twitter DMs.
Well, I think that's part of the problem, though, right? Is that like it's not even necessarily that these guys aren't here. Like, obviously, NA has a smaller player base. Obviously, they have massive issues that you can't fix. However, there's also the part where teams wouldn't be willing to give the players that do bubble up to the very top a chance. And so I'm really happy to see that, at least from the lock-in tournament. And also just to have, this is something I've actually talked to Kelsey about too. It's easy to believe in your own mechanics if you're coming from the Korean server or from especially the Chinese super server, right? Like I keep bringing this up, but like, there's no better example of how Chinese players view themselves as when I was interviewing Ben at Worlds this past year. And I was talking to him and I was like, yeah, like the Omni Stone Camille, like your team must have really trusted you to like win lane and stuff. And he's just like, yeah, why wouldn't they? Like obviously they would. And it's not even arrogance. It's like, you have to believe in your own mechanics, and it's reflected in the way they play lane and the way they try to like outduel their opponents constantly. And if there's one thing that I could say about North American players, that sometimes they doubt themselves because they already know that their server isn't as good, because they already know their server isn't as big or something like that. So while I understand where that's coming from, again, I was really happy to see all the risks that, you know, players like Niles, players like Insanity are taking, because, you know, you fuck up and you learn, and hopefully next time you try to, you know, pop off as Lucian and diving a turret, like you get it right, you know?
Yeah.
So I want to see more of that in NA.
So I kind of want to bounce off of that, because you brought up quite an interesting topic there on player mentality, and I want to dip into a topic that was quite popular, I'd say like 4 or 5 months ago. I guess there was a big conversation within the league community of like, our viewers and the community and like Reddit and Twitter and everything like this too aggressive towards players, and do you think that the community has a responsibility to not just shit on players when somebody fucks up, like especially rookies coming into the leagues? Like quite often someone will make a mistake and immediately Reddit has just got like a big hate thread. They're like, this should be fired immediately. This kid's like 17 or whatever, and he's just like, well, fuck, I've ruined my life because I made one fuck up in a game. Where do you guys sit on this conversation? Because I think I have like the unpopular opinion that I don't think this is Reddit's responsibility. I actually think that the teams should manage players' social media access if this is an issue. Should have sports psychologists and whatnot available. The community is only going to get bigger, and they are only going to get worse. If you look at the football community, they sure as fuck don't give a singular shit what those players' feelings are right now. They could not give less of a fuck. So I don't see this going in another direction, but I'm curious if you guys do see a different perspective of this, or have any ideas on like how this could change moving forward. So we'll go to you first, Chronicler, if that's okay, because you've not had much chance to speak just yet.
I mean, I don't know if I have much to offer, so.
Well, you could veto. You could don't feel.
I have really
I
strong opinions.
I have a strong. I was just being sarcastic, guys.
Oh, no.
So don't take most of the things I say seriously initially. So I have a really strong opinion on this because I feel like it's been not just a problem in League, right? But like League as a big community will always be reflective of just like real world communities. I think we've just seen in general the impact of how discourse is conducted and like what is acceptable and what isn't. And I think there's a couple of really big League communities or community figures that just straight up hard flame players, right? And then it always like, I think that criticism is good because criticism forces improvement and like it forces reflection and whatnot. But I think people have kind of, and I mean, this is a global problem. Like, this is not an esports problem. I do agree with you there, Munch, that like, it's very easy for me to state this, but I would like to see at least big figures in the community to refrain from just absolutely saying players are boosted monkeys, right? Which like, it happens so often. Like, and it sounds funny, but then when you really think about it, like, that's a super negative, like toxic, and it really normalizes the type of behavior. So ideally, I'd see big community members like not condone actual flaming, just say, I think this is bad because of XYZ reason. But I don't think that's actually going to happen. Unfortunately.
I'll let you guys go next because I have thoughts, but I'll go last because I spoke first.
I mean, Emily, do you want to take the lead or?
It's up to you. I mean, I think there's two parts of it. Is how much how much of a burden does the community have, and then also how much of it is the responsibility of the players to like, I guess, like not look at it. But we really are at a point where like you can't just shut it off, right? Like even someone like me who like I hate myself enough that I don't want that like continued from an outside perspective. Like
Uh-huh.
no one on Reddit is going to be able to hate me as much as I hate me. Like trust me, you just can't. But to have that kind of negative feedback loop is really bad for me. So I typically try to avoid places, and obviously like you can't shut it out entirely, right? Because using social media is also part of the job. So that's also where I feel really conflicted. I think in terms of it being a specific problem to North America, it definitely isn't, because my counter to that would be like, the Shy's girlfriend drama trends on Weibo to like, millions, if not billions of people. So, it's, and Chinese players, like former players, have even spoken out about this several times. Like I know, it was, who said it? It was PDD, right? And in an interview I think he did with Travis, where he's like, yeah, like I think one of the reasons why a lot of Chinese pros kind of tend to burn out fairly quickly or only have like a really specific time period of where they're good is because it does get to you, because there are so many people watching you. And it's a lot of pressure, and just having that really, really gets to you. So, I mean, I think it's generally about, this is a boring answer, but like, I think it's generally about finding a balance, because you'll never be able to stop that part, right? Like and you also can't just shut it off. So, try to surround yourself by people who will give you constructive criticism, first of all. So like, obviously not just like blowing smoke up your ass, but like if you do something wrong, be like, yeah, obviously. And then the other thing with League is that like a lot of issues, I guess, are like visually obvious. So, for example, I remember going through this with Huhi, because Huhi, even when he was a mid laner, was someone who I thought was really smart about how he played to side lanes and like his understanding of the actual map, like when to push, when to trade, that kind of thing. But the thing that he would always get ripped apart for were like very visually obvious things that you can see, right? Like if you mess up mechanically, like you're gonna have people who play the game be like, well, I wouldn't have done that, and I'm not a pro. So there's always going to be that too. And if you surround yourself by people who are have your best interest in mind, I think it's like invaluable, honestly.
It's the faker problem, right? Like you can never carry hard enough. It does if you make one mistake, like it's immediate. Yeah, like I tweeted about this as well. But imagine being like, think back to when you were 17. Because like
I can't remember. It's too long ago.
Well, that's
oh
the
no.
point, right? Like, because at 17, I assume I speak for most people, right? Like I was a fucking mess in miss puberty. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing in anything. And then imagine you're 17 and you're playing like on T1, right? You're closer, and you have to follow up the greatest player ever. And like, that every mistake you made, like every CS you made, is going to become a fucking meme video in every community possible. Yeah. And then you're going to get heart flame for not being the greatest player alive. Like, it's just, whew.
It's kind of insane, isn't it? Luckily for him, he popped off. So
he's insane,
big thumbs
so
up.
it's fine. But he got away with it.
There's two kind of things I want to hit on. One, Emily, you're awesome. Like, you wouldn't have had the impact you've had in League of Legends if you weren't great. So I'm gonna get that one off the vote first. Two,
hard agreed.
I think as well. This is actually a conversation that I think Veteran had this conversation with me, and I think it's a really important one that a lot of people don't realize. And because we're all kind of analysts and casters now, I kind of want to put it out there to see what your guys' take is on it. But I think as well, I don't think we give ourselves enough credit as to how much we shape that narrative, where you can kind of in the heat of the moment go, oh, this guy, he fucking sucks. Like, look what he did. He screwed up massively. But then you've got to kind of go back and go, hang on, if I've re-looked at this, oh, I actually missed this thing that he did that actually made way more sense, and I've actually fucked up in this moment, so I need to go and correct that. And I don't think that happens enough. And I actually had this conversation with Munch before I had internet issues on Sunday, or maybe it was Oshin actually before I had internet issues on Sunday, that for IG's game, I saw like Reddit had started to go into, hey, Shun's really bad, he's not doing well, but like Baolan had just was 0-5 in the bot lane, shouldn't have lost entirely control of his bot side of the map, and had nothing that he could do from that point forward. So like I kind of made it a goal to come in and go, hey, like I want to shut down this narrative that Shun is just absolutely terrible. Like Shun makes mistakes. I'm not saying he's the perfect player, but certainly he's nowhere near as bad as he's being made out to be. And I think that that's definitely on us.
However.
Baolan, I'm down to go for that one. Yeah, I'm down for that one. But for Shun specifically, and I think that's definitely something that kind of needs to be looked at as well, is that oftentimes these narratives are shaped by, and I'm not blaming any caster at all, because I've 100% done it, where in the heat of the moment, where you've got like 3 different ideas you're juggling in the back of the head, and you're in your head, and you're trying to watch where the jungler's moving to, and where that lane is moving in top lane, and if it's pushing or pulling, or if they're freezing, or what the hell they're doing. It's very easy to miss one thing. And I don't think people understand just how difficult it is to cast on the fly like that with all the moving parts of League of Legends. Like if you're watching an analyst show, oftentimes they're rewinding like 30, 40 times to make sure they catch each and everything, but you don't have that luxury as a color caster. And I think you've got to kind of come back and go, actually put my hand up, I messed up here, I want to fix this thing. And I think what ends up happening is that people kind of latch on to the thing they heard in a cast and then don't actually think critically about what has just occurred, and that oftentimes ends up with these messed up stories and people getting a lot of hate where it's not due. And I think that's the big problem, is that like if you know, hang on a second, I actually didn't mess up here, but I'm getting all this hate for messing up, I think that makes it 10 times worse.
Yeah, agree completely. I do think as well, like there have been plenty of examples. I think this is fair to say for pretty much any caster. There have been examples where you kind of maybe overflame a player. I know Eric on OMG. I think I almost felt like I needed to be the antagonist to Hysterics on this one, because Hysterics was like super hyped on Eric when he first came in, just because he's called Eric. That was like the exclusive reason why Hysterics loved this guy. And I was like, that's not a good enough reason. I hate this guy. And on one of the casts, he really, really fucked up. And this was in NEST. This wasn't on LPL, so it wasn't like going out to thousands and thousands of people. But in NEST, I'm not going to lie, he had a really terrible performance. I'm not going to lie, I kind of shit on him. And since that point, I've kind of gone back and thought, maybe I went a little bit too far here. Like, Eric is a super young player. Like, it's kind of easier for like me and Dagda, and same for you, Chronicler, because we're the B stream, right? LPL English is the B stream. We're not the real audience for these players.
Man.
We're not?
Yeah, what? Believe it or not. Like,
watching you.
Eric is not checking my NEST streams. I promise you that. But like, I don't really shape the narrative towards the Chinese audience. However, it is important that you tell the correct story to the audience. And so, like, coming into this year, I was like, clean slate for Eric. I'm not just going to hard flame him. I apologized to him on the LPL broadcast already. And I was like, Eric, we can start afresh. And he's had some pretty good games. So, Eric, I hope we can be friends. I love you. I don't know where I'm going with this one. I do want to kind of circle back on the original conversation on, like, responsibility. Because I feel like we've touched on a few points on ways that you can manage this. But do you guys think that this is ultimately the responsibility, like, whose responsibility is this? Is it a matter of dependent on the team, dependent on the player? Like, do you think this is down to the esports orgs to need to manage this? Do you think this is down to, like, Riot should be trying to manage this themselves? Like, how much do you think it's even possible to manage the way that the community responds to what's happening?
I mean, it depends, right? I know that's such a lawyer answer, like it depends, but it's actually true though. Because I feel like there isn't like a silver bullet kind of answer to this, right? I think it is, as I said before, I think community figures have a big impact, but also the moderation in Discord servers. I mean, we've all seen what happened to the T1 server when there was no moderation. It goes very, I can see Emily face palming. It can go very bad, very fast. And I mean, this is something that, again, I think the internet has always kind of realized that maybe moderation is a good thing. But I feel like it's such a Yeah,
r/lol.
that's the problem, right? Like that's why I'm saying it depends, because like overzealous moderation is also bad. So that kind of goes back to what Emily was saying earlier about like how it's about balance, because with problems this big, there's never like one answer. It's always like 50 different fires you have to kind of get rid of, and I feel like that's always going to be really hard, which is a very unsatisfactory answer. I'm really sorry. It's just
Well,
bad.
it also differs from person to person, right? Which is why it's also so difficult. Like someone else who is not me will handle flame a lot differently than I do, right? Because while I won't interact with it, I'll just internalize it, and again, it'll feed off of my own like insecurities and stuff. So I know myself well enough to what to do and like what not to do. But A, did I have that wherewithal when I was 17? No, not at all. And then B, people react differently also depending on like where you're at in your career, right? Like someone who is a lot more established, it can just be like, no, like you're wrong and I'm right, and I don't care what you say, you know, like I don't care what the community says. And that's like, I really applaud people who can do that, because I know that I can't. And that's also what makes it difficult, because again, it's a case by case basis. So I think it's just about communicating how you like receive information, and trying to be as honest as you can, and hopefully people in your org are looking out for you, and trying to mitigate it or use it as like a strength as much as possible, depending on how you respond to that kind of thing.
Yeah, true. They can be, I guess, motivational, right? I think the best example of the players that can just not give a crap is like Perks, right? When you look at the way Perks went to social media after he had a bad performance in the lock-in tournament, he's just like, I don't give a shit what you guys think. Are you kidding me? I'm fucking Perks, bitch. And he's just like all over Twitter, just like flaming people, basically. I love that. I love the sheer confidence coming out of that guy.
I think it does get a little bit funky though, because I think it's hard to moderate. Like, people are arseholes. Wherever the fuck you go, you're gonna find people who are just assholes. And like, you can have entirely different feedbacks. Like, I came off the broadcast last week, I had one message that told me to kill myself, I had another message that said, hey, you did an awesome job. And like, you're just looking at them going, all right, I guess. So it's just like, well, so I think it's a lot more about, and kind of coming back to the players and stuff like that, I think it's more about the support system. And I think if the team environment is, hey, look, dude, let's sit down and actually discuss what went wrong here, and we can make this constructive. Okay, cool. Well, then you don't really care, because you actually know what went wrong. You have some of the smartest people about the game telling you either that went wrong or it wasn't your fault, that was my fuck up. So you actually understand what's going on. And I think it's very much so about curating those support systems to help you through that. Now, whether that is the team or whether that's Riot or whatever that might be, but I think either friends or the team are the immediate ones that stand out to me, just because they're the immediate circle that you're going to be interacting with.
Yeah, I think I agree with that one, ultimately. I'm going to move the conversation on, because I feel like we've sat on this topic, and it was kind of a topic out of the blue. I just thought I would bring that up because it was like a bounce off. I do want to, before we jump into Season 11 League of Legends, because I think there's quite a lot to talk about there, and I'm really interested to get your guys' takes on that. I want to jump into your guys' backstories a little bit, if that's okay, because you guys, I think for a lot of people watching in the greater League of Legends community right now, Chronicler more so, but League of Emily as well.
I was about to say, you're not gonna like you're not gonna directly compare me, right? Like,
well, you guys are both. This is your first year on a major region broadcast, right? So there's, whether you like it or not, Chronicler, there is a comparison there to be made.
I'm not ready.
Both so far, both of you have both been massively underselling yourselves. I know personally that you guys are fucking awesome, so stop that immediately. But yeah, I want to kind of go into your guys' backstories a little bit. This is something we've kind of made a habit of doing on the show. I want to kind of give you guys a platform to tell viewers that or listeners that maybe haven't heard of you before, maybe haven't seen your work in the past, like, where are you from? What's your story? What inspired you to start in the first place? Like, how did this journey begin for you guys? I'll start with you, Chronicler, if that's okay, because I think your story is probably shorter than Emily's based on my knowledge of your guys' careers, but I don't know whether that's
Ball-
true.
I mean,
Prove me
that
wrong.
depends
Prove me
long-
wrong. all right?
well, it depends how far back you want to go, right? You want to like go interest in esports to casting. I think like that's
Yeah, I'd say that's a
I.
reasonable journey.
So it was my gateway drug was World of Warcraft, as I'm sure many will recognize.
Relatable.
Cost me a year in high school. And then I I full-time StarCraft 2 while doing uni, which wasn't great for uni either. I got masters though, so that was definitely worth it.
So
I mean, that bad for
master's
uni.
degree.
I still couldn't beat my I was low masters, and like ex StarCraft players will know what I'm talking about. So basically getting to low masters is the same amount of time, and it was 2 years for me, right? Like a year and a half that it takes for you to go from low to high masters. Because I had a buddy of mine and I played him I don't know, 10, 20 times, and I never won, not even once. And I didn't get close either. It was real bad.
That's brutal.
Yeah, StarCraft is a fucking savage game. But I didn't really do anything productive with it. And then during my, I think, third year of law school, I don't know, third or fourth, I went to Korea for a semester, studied at Yonsei for 1 semester. And I went to OGN because at that point I'd already been watching League of Legends and the LCK as well. Because I mean, if you watch StarCraft, you watch Korean players because there was Stefano and then maybe 3 other people and Adra and Huck, and that was it, right? It was basically just it was just Koreans rolling everyone, which I didn't mind because I mean, yeah.
I was an Idra man myself, I'll admit, but
that's still the most. If you don't know, Idra is notorious for being both a complete rager and the most famous forfeit in what I believe should be the most famous forfeit in all of esports.
The hallucinations.
Very quickly. So basically, in StarCraft, you had the ability to imagine an army or hallucinate an army, right? And then normally, players would fight the army and immediately see that these were hallucinations. But Idra was notorious for rage quitting games. And in StarCraft, forfeiting a game and saying GG and just rage quitting is very normal. So what happened is he went into, he saw this army, immediately alter fought the game, didn't even say GG because that was kind of his thing. And then at the start of the next game, his opponent was like, those were hallucinations, right? And it was fuck off. And that's still one of my favorite East. But basically, that was it was. I don't know. There's few moments that ever will top that for me because it's so depressing if you're Idra in that situation.
Yeah. In a tournament as well. This is in a tournament. This is just solo queue. There is money on the line here, and oh my god. Anyway, we move on from StarCraft. Continue your story.
Yeah. So then when I came back from Korea, I really wanted to do more with it because I felt very disillusioned with just playing video games for 8 hours a day, as one does. So then I founded the Esports Association, Nerd Club in Tilburg, which was the union that I was at. No one will know it. I mean, it's a city in the Netherlands. Not kidding myself. And then from there, I rolled into the esports scene because I was coaching and managing a team. I mean, it was part of the association, so naturally I did that as well. And then from there, I got into casting. I did Overwatch, League of Legends, Hearthstone, anything I could get my hands on for 2 years or 3 years. I'm not entirely sure. It was both through my bachelor's and my master's. So I finished my master's in law in 2018. And then I was like, well, I got this degree and I don't know if I want to really go for it. So then I said, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to try for 30, for I don't know why I'm saying 30 minutes, half a year. It's half an hour. Close enough.
We'll give a casting 30 minutes. If I'm not famous by 30 minutes time, it's over.
Yes,
we quit.
That's a great.
That's aggressive goals.
That'll get you there.
Sends out one tweet, doesn't get a reply. It's done.
So, I'm done. I didn't go viral. I'm out of here. Yeah. And then so I did ESL Belgium and the Netherlands and a lot of other freelance stuff. I moved to London for a year. And then I did UKLC, which is where I met, people like Greyheart and Orcs for the UK/regional league scene will know them. I met Hiprain way before that, actually. We casted Overwatch in when was Overwatch popular? 2017, 2016, like when it was just released, when everyone was like, including me, was like super high on Overwatch. I think it was like 2017.
2018.
Yeah. That was great. Early Overwatch.
It was.
We all remember.
God bless Blizzard cease and desists.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about Overwatch. It's a painful memory for me.
I mean, I did a something called City League, which was an Overwatch league with like different cities from Europe. Let me tell you, that concept did not last past the first season.
Yeah.
And then I did EU Masters the Dutch and Belgian league, like the Benelux ERLs basically really came to fruition in 2020. And then I also did EU Masters as a play-by-play in 2020 as well, so a couple of months ago. And then I saw an application for the LCK, and I did it last year as well, and didn't get a response, right? Because I just moved to a new place, and the ERLs were looking really good. So I was like, fuck it. And yeah, here we are.
God damn, and here
Let's
we
go!
are. Don't just say, and here we are. Dude, you're on the LCK.
Yeah.
You're on the LCK, buddy.
I'm not fucking ready for that. I've watched the LCK for 8 years. Like, I talked to Monty and Doe shortly because they were like super helpful. And I had a call with them as well where they gave me some advice and just like starting out and just it's cool to chat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was also like, they didn't remember this, and I knew they didn't remember this, but I spent a really I was fangirling when I came out of OGM when I was in Korea. I was like, there was an elevator ride, and they were in it. Like we were going out of the venue, and I was like, ooh! And now I am the LTK, and that still makes no fucking sense to me. So yeah, I'm not ready to accept that. So give me some time on that.
Yeah, I know that feeling, and
still feel it.
Especially with this show. With this show, there's been quite a few of those weird interactions where we've had people on the show, and the one for me that was like the biggest one is we had Quickshot Deficio on, and I was just like,
What?
I'm about to have a 3-hour conversation with Quickshot Deficio. What? Like if you told me 3 years ago this was gonna happen. Like, I'd wet myself, literally.
Yeah.
Like, this is...
You should see the messages me and Munch have back and forth in our own little Discord chat, which is just like, dude, we just talked to Quickshot and the Fishy. Or like, so what people don't realize is that like after the Grabs and Peter Dunn episode, we spent the next like 5 hours talking to Grabs and just drinking with them. And same with Peter Dunn.
We got really drunk.
They're both great for that. I love both.
Oh, they're amazing. They're some of the coolest people I've ever met. And we just like, afterwards, we hung up the conversation, and instantly the two of us were like, we just spent 5 hours talking to Grabs and Peter Dunn. This is so cool. It was just
because you gotta like while I was on EU Masters, I was watching the LC. I was watching like I think it was the qualification tournament, right? Like I was spamming everyone like, oh guys, Gumiyushi is really good, and like, oh Genji's gonna do amazing at Worlds, and like everyone was like, shut the fuck up, man. Like we're at EU Masters, like focus on the actual team. I mean, it didn't because they were sweethearts, but like I'm pretty sure one of them fought it at the very least. Yeah. And yeah, because throughout the application process as well, because there was like multiple rounds of interviews, right? And I was 100% certain I fucking ran it down in the first one because
I don't run it down as like transcended league at this point. It's a race.
Man, I was fucking like I felt like I fucking sprinted it because you got to imagine I'm sitting here at like 9 in the fucking morning, and I'm like in my suit and I'm sweating because I'm like about to do something with Atlas. Right, so I'm just like, this is going to be great, guys. And then it's like super short, super punchy, and I was expecting like more long stuff. And I'm just, well, that was it. Cool. I got to cast like 3 minutes. That was great. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still not ready.
Listen, mate, it worked. So stop underselling yourself.
I'm also going to tell you a secret.
Great. So.
I'm going to tell you a secret. We're still not ready. Like, at the same time, every time I'm just like...
for yourself, all right.
Every time I go onto the LPL broadcasting, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? How did I get here?
Am I getting
what
pranked?
Happened?
Is this a prank show? Like, are they pulling an elaborate joke on me?
Yeah, it's just like,
I actually am. Yeah, you've been punked. There's a camera here. There's a camera
This
there.
is the reveal.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to swing the conversation around. I want to kick it over to you now, Emily.
I'm gonna grab my drink.
No worries.
But I do want to hear. So, Emily, really stretch out the beginning so I can.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Um,
Oh my god.
Emily, now obviously I know you've been around the scene like for quite a while at this point, and for those of
Guess
you
so,
guys
yeah.
that don't know, if I'm not mistaken, you started out as a journalist, but I don't actually know the stepping stone process. So start me off with like the moment of inspiration of like what got you into not just watching esports, but like being proactive with an esport.
So I've written about this a few times, I think. But basically what happened is I was at like I'd heard about League of Legends. I'd watched StarCraft casually when I was in college, whatever. I watched it very casually though, like as most people do. I played Brood War. I was terrible at it. The fact that you made
Aren't we all?
Masters like so impressive to me, honestly. And so yeah, I was just bumming around. I had a retail job and I was blogging about anime. I visited one of my friends and we were like really, really drunk and he was playing League of Legends. So I was like, this is so cool. And then I went home and downloaded it and started playing with a bunch of my friends from anime blogging. And they told me that I was terrible, which is true, which is actually still because I don't have time to like put into the game that I would like because I'm watching too much of it. Which I think is a common problem that people have when they like and you also like know the gap of like where you could be if you actually practiced and like where you are, and it's so frustrating actually. But
for me, they're here, unfortunately. They're just level. I'm never getting good at this game. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
So yeah, they told me I was really bad and that I should watch streams of like pro players. So I actually ended up watching NetNwin's stream more than anything, and this is in 2012. And then I watched the regional finals with like TSM, and I watched Worlds that year. And I didn't end up like falling in love with a team until I saw one of my friends told me, watch out for KT Rolster B at MLG Dallas. They'll be playing Moscow 5 in like an exhibition match. And so I watched them and I was like, oh my god, this KT team, they're so good. Like I love them. And so then I adjusted my schedule. So I was waking up and watching every single Champions Korea match. I got super into it. And that was 2013. Watched the summer finals, which I still watch. Like, even though I know KT loses, I still watch as like such a like all-time like great match, despite the fact that obviously they didn't know nearly as much about the game as we do now, like even simple things. So it's cool to actually go back and watch those matches, in my opinion, as inside, because you get to see like a lot of tenets of the game that people automatically know are like default things that you know, even as a player in solo queue, being discovered in the process of some of these series. And then in 2014, I started writing for Monte Cristo's revamped GG Chronicle site. And I ended up that year. Sorry, this is like really rambling. I feel like I have way too much to
This
say.
is the point of the show. Please don't apologize for telling the story as it is.
So 2014, we all had to write like these really big in-depth pieces on every team at Worlds, every single team that was going. And so I was like, I want Samsung White because I watched them all year and I think they're going to win, and here's why. And so I like claimed them.
One of my favorite teams of all
time.
them.
But then no one wanted to write about Kaboom. So I was like, okay, I'll write about Kaboom. It's whatever. So I watched I went back and I watched all their CBLOL games, and CBLOL was at this really weird point in their history, actually, where they just started bringing over South Korean players to the region. And the big thing about Kaboom is that they did not have any South Korean players on their roster. And so everyone was expecting, that this team's going to be really, really bad. I like forced one of my anime blogging friends to try, because he's Brazilian Portuguese. He lives in Canada, but his parents are from Brazil and they're diplomats and stuff. And so I was like, translate these interviews for me. No, go.
I really love how the anime blogging is like a very like a red line throughout the story.
It's like a consistent theme throughout.
It really grounds everything. It really provides me with a lot of like narrative continuation.
The anime blogging is like the safety net of the story.
So
I was gonna
unlucky.
say,
It's really
I loved
unlucky.
your tweet. I loved your tweet, whereas like where you don't actually get recognized for like your work in esports. It's your work in anime blogging that you actually get recognized for when you join the LCS.
Oh, really? I never
I
saw
was just
that.
like, oh no, please no. Yeah, I just
That's
posted
amazing.
something today on that actually. It's not a secret or anything. It's just like I want to keep things separate from like this is the esports timeline, this is the anime timeline. But yeah, so he translated a bunch of interviews for me actually and gave me a really good idea of like what this team was going to be. So I like wrote this in-depth thing on Kaboom, and then everyone was asking me like, what chance do you think Kaboom have to win a game? And I was like, all right. And then I went down like the percentages against each team in their group, and I gave them the highest percentage against Alliance based on playstyle. And it was 5%, by the way. That's how that's how we're working with here. I was like, well, it's 0% against you, 0%. Like,
That sounded a lot more positive until that.
I was like, if
Yeah.
they're going to be any team, it's going to be Alliance, and like, here's why, because of the playstyle matchup. And they did. And so then I actually got really into CBLOL for a while. And I have to like thank a lot of those players, honestly, because I was like, why are you even interviewing with me? I'm no one. And they were so accepting to be interviewed all throughout 2015 and 2016. Like I followed that INTZ team that beat EDG in the their first game. And the whole revolted clear love thing. So like that, I can't honestly thank those players enough for just being like so open and so accommodating to like literally no one in me. And so then I made my way up in terms of freelancing with Riot, and then I got a job with The Score. Then I went over to Yahoo. Then I was freelancing again for a while. Then I was at ESPN, and now I was asked to come on broadcast, which is actually really surprising to me because it kind of came out of nowhere for me. I was like, oh, okay.
There's a couple of things I want to hit on there. I want to come back to the broadcast thing if that's okay, and we'll finish on that because that's like current timeline. I want to go back in your timeline a little bit because I feel like you skipped a couple of steps there. So where was the LPL in that timeline? Because we talked about CBLOL, we talked about you talked about working for Monte Cristo on his website, and I'm sure you guys had a couple of like moments where we're like, "Hey, KT Rolster, yeah, KT Rolster," it's like,
yeah.
But at what point in the timeline did you become like a big fan of the LPL? Because I know, like, based on your Twitter, based on your interactions with Kelsey as well, I know you guys are big fans of the LPL. Like, where did that fit into the story for you?
So one of the places I freelanced after GG Chronicle kind of went under is a bunch of us went over to a site called Paravine, and Kelsey was there, and she and a whole host of other people that everyone knows were doing the unofficial LPL English broadcast in 2014. And I had actually followed that because I wanted to follow Insect's career because he had gone over to gone over to Starhorn Royal Club. And so like, yeah, I watched those like Starhorn OMG series. Oh my god. And I was just like, what is happening? These are something else. And I was actually really surprised that Starhorn made it to finals that year. Based on their regional performance. But then in 2015, I started following LPL very closely because I was tracking the massive exodus of South Korean players leaving South Korea to go play in China. And Frost Gurin at the time was stepping down from China Talk to become an actual caster. And she was en route to Australia to be a part of the first official LPL English broadcast. So she was like, can you be on China Talk? I think your perspective from all of the South Korean players that you know will lend itself well to talking about what they're going to be like on LPL rosters. And that is when I started watching the LPL full time. And at first I was just like, what is this? Which is why the other day I tweeted something about like how like you have to have this like massive paradigm shift to accept the LPL into your life. But once you do, like you will love it like a lot. So I think you do have to abandon a lot of the like historic tenets of like what makes a game like quote unquote good.
Yeah.
And you also have to, one thing it's taught me actually, because I think there is value when you're looking at draft, there's value in two things. I think there actually is a lot of value looking at a draft like objectively, is this good, right? Because that's a really good measuring stick. But then there's also, and I hope people start to realize this just generally in the community, I think there's an equally good like and valuable point where you look at the team that is drafting and what they draft. And a lot of LPL drafts are like this, where they're like really bad in a vacuum, but they're so well suited to what that team wants to do that it's really worth discussing.
I mean,
and I love the LPL for that.
Yeah, I mean, if someone like SOFM can pull out Tank Rengar in what was it, like, was it finals or semis? Like,
Semis,
yeah, like why? At that point, are we as a
Omnistone.
community to be like, you know what, unorthodox picks, not good, not gonna work.
No, yeah.
like,
Yeah, he made it
yeah,
work.
I really
Renekton.
agree.
Yeah, the LPL Renekton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we got
I think
we
even
got
just outside
LPL
of-
Nana as well.
Yeah, we
yeah.
do.
Well, hey, look,
But
we
not
use Nar
right
well.
down
It's
to
just bad in the
I mean,
LCK.
hey,
Okay.
Khan does
LPL.
as well, so clearly you picked something up in the year he was in LPL. Because
No
that
refunds,
guy's
by the way.
smashing
No
it.
refunds on
Yeah.
Khan.
Yeah. No take
He's
backs.
smashing
We're
it.
staying
He's
here.
really
We're staying
good.
here.
I want to hit on that though, Emily, because I think that's a very, very, a very key statement on how to watch the LPL. Because for anyone, obviously, this is a lot of people listening will be listening after the fact when this isn't live. But we're currently talking on the 19th of January 2021. For anyone that does listen in the future, hey from the future, how's it all going? I hope COVID's better by now. What am I saying? What is wrong with me?
Just finish your
Anyway,
point.
I'm going to get to
Just
my
go
point.
for it. Just, yeah.
There was a Reddit thread. I was asking for feedback on the LPL, and I realized a lot of the comments, there was like 700 comments, which is way more than I bargained for. But a lot of the comments were like, hey, I'm an LCK viewer. It's on at the same time. There's no way I'm leaving the LCK. And a ton of those comments gave the reason being...
Sorry, Chronicler, can you take that smug smile off your face
Yeah.
when he said that? Or if you could just
like,
park it for a second.
Yeah, you shut your silence up, all right?
Just be like, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. Let me make this very clear. I did nothing to deserve this. I literally haven't casted a single game of LCK. Even if I would have not, I mean, I don't know why I would have been here if I wasn't on the LCK. But even if I would not have been on the LCK, my response would have been exactly the same. Like, yes, LCK.
Not having earned it is the best reason to be smug, my friend. That's how smug works. But yeah, the key theme was that a lot of the LCK viewers were like, I don't like the LPL because I don't like just fighting for the sake of fighting. I like calculated, correct League of Legends. And I had like this epiphany moment that like 5 years ago, I watched exclusively EU LCS and LCK. Well, OGN at the time. And the reason for that was because they were playing League of Legends correctly. And I suddenly had this moment where I was like, my brain has changed. I watch LPL now. I just want to see chaos. I don't want to watch correct League of Legends anymore. And I didn't realize that there was a transition at any point. I didn't notice this changing over time. But actually, there is a very significant shift in dynamic that you have to make to watch LPL versus LCK or EU and LCS as well. Maybe less of an extent to EU now, because I think EU has shifted to being more aggressive as a region. But
LCK as well, to be completely honest. Like, I
That's
feel
true,
LCK has been like, okay, so we got our asses kicked by China twice, and G2 kills every other team every single year. And I don't think, like, obviously still not LPL levels, right? But I think one of the reasons why Dunwon was so successful is because they looked at other regions, right? Like, they looked at the developments in LEC, in LPL. And I feel like, I mean, obviously it paid off for them because they're mutants and they're like way too good, every single one of them. But like, I feel like I love that the fact that there's crossover, right? Because I watch some LPL. I mean, not a lot because LCK is on at the same time. I kind of got to watch that now.
I mean, we can let you away, but
Part of
Yeah,
it is only your job or
today, for example,
Yeah.
because you guys are on for 7 days, we're only on for 5, right? But even LPL like hasn't. There's still a lot of games where they've somewhat slowed down as well, and I feel like the LCK has also sped up at times, depending on which team you look at. Gen G is still playing exactly. Even Gen G's been looking better this split thus far, which is just makes a lot of sense because LPL has been the best. I think arguably you could argue that LPL is still the best region. Personally, I think that that's high.
There is an argument, but yes.
I mean, like,
it's difficult because this is actually also why I don't like the immediate, because I've talked about this before too when talking about Damwon. Like, it used to be that all you had to do was look at the LCK and just be like, whoever I think has the best read on the meta from LCK, that's going to be the team that wins, right?
Yeah.
Always. And it was really easy. And now you actually have to look at how teams play. So in retrospect, even if you think top esports is the quote unquote better team, it makes sense that they struggle so much against Fnatic. It makes sense that Suning, although that doesn't explain what happened to JDG because they were pretty well suited to the meta in my opinion. But it makes more sense. It makes more sense that Suning made it over TES, right? Because their play style is much more suited to the meta, and Damwon is the ultimate team in that meta, and continuing because it's still really around the jungle style. And anytime the meta is like this, Damwon is going to be just monstrous because Canyon is monstrous.
Canyon is not okay. But I don't know.
He's a different breed.
He's so good. He's so good. He's so and people underrate how smart he is. He dragged that team in spring in a meta that didn't suit them. He's so good.
I love that Rob and Joe are trying to drag you onto the LPL side, and they're like, yeah, LPL's great, LPL meta shift, and then you're just here telling everyone about how good Damwon is. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Emily.
No, I agree with that. Damwon is the best team in the world.
Point. It's you should not look at region. You should look at the way the team plays. And if you are a top team in a region, you then look at how does this team play and what is the ideal way to play in the current meta. And that team's probably going to be the best team. Or then you make an argument across all of the top teams in each region. You're like, okay, which of these teams would actually match up really well against each other?
Yeah, I genuinely think Damwon is one of the best teams to have ever been produced in League of Legends. That's without a doubt. They've just beat, for the meta that was in it, Canyon's incredibly smart. Nuguri's the best top laner in the world. You have so much on that team that just works. But I think coming back to the LPL point, I think the reason why I enjoy LPL so much is that you do get a lot of depth and strategy when you've earned the respect of a team. They are purely happy to just go, I'm going to skill check you. I'm going to see what the fuck you do in this situation. And 9 times out of 10, I'm just better than you. Rookie, nice, Jackie Love. They're just going to beat you because they're better players than you. And they don't give a shit what you think. But when you earn the respect of them, and this is why I think our finals, for JDG versus Top, both spring and summer, were so fucking good, was that they were willing to skill check and push each other to the limits, but you also got to see that massive depth and level of strategy as everyone tried to take every little ounce on the map. And I think that's what makes the LPL so interesting, is that you can get both sides, but there is always going to be that I'm just willing to say I'm better than you here.
Yeah,
I think that's also why I think LPL teams should typically have a good chance at Worlds from moving forward, just because there should theoretically always be at least one LPL team that's very well suited to the meta. And if they're coming in with that mentality of I'm just gonna beat you into the ground while playing their specific play style, that's a really good place to be in to win a tournament.
We have 17 teams. One of them is bound to be okay.
Very true.
One of them is going to stumble on the magic meta solve. No, I agree. I think that I don't really obviously I love the LCK, but to me, most fun in League of Legends is seeing how the powerhouses of different regions stack up to each other, right? Because everyone could have told you that G2 against Gen G was going to be a slaughterfest last split, just because Gen G is the most, at least last split. Like I said, I feel like they're shifting away, but they were the most stereotypical Korean team where they play slow.
I thought you were going to say overrated.
I don't think so. I think that if Gen G would have, I would have loved to see Gen G against Suning or against like a team that wasn't G2, because I feel like G2 has already shown very clearly that they fuck Korean teams up real good. But that was like the downside of last year's Worlds bracket. I wanted to see more clashes between different regions, because what would have DRX have done against Suning? Like, can you imagine how fucking great of a series that would have been? Because obviously, like, Suning were like at the right place at the right time. Like, they were mad geniuses, right? Like, it was an amazing storyline. But DRX is also a fucking weird, or last split DRX, it was like a weird coin flippy team. Everyone thought they were way worse than Gen Z, and then they got to play against Dumb One, and like, who knows what would have happened, right? But like, that's the only downside, that I feel like we don't have any form of weight for region.
I just want to say, and I don't want to bring this up as a topic because I feel like we could talk about this for the next 3 hours, but goddamn, single elimination. Fuck you. Fuck you, single elimination as a format.
They'll never change it, but it makes me so mad because like so much is decided on placement, and it can be really arbitrary.
Yep. Yeah. Both DRX and G2 this year, I feel like, could have like theoretically made it to finals in the right matchups, like depending. The point is not whether or not these two teams would have made it to finals. The point is, in other matchups, it could have been a very different story.
And it would have been such a different game, right? Like DRX against, like I said, any other LPL, they might have gotten smashed, right? But like against Donmon, we knew that they were going to get smashed, right? It was just every LCK was like, this is going to be a quick 3-0. And it was. And it was just heartbreaking to see. And yeah, I agree with you. I feel like Donmon would have always won the tournament just because of, like, as we all said, like how freakishly good they are.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, like JDG against DRX or G2 against top esports in the lower bracket. Like, can you fucking imagine how cool that would be?
There are 2 points I want to say, right? First off, the fact that we had an LPL side of the bracket and an LCK side of the bracket plus like Europe like sprinkled in. The fact that we had that in a single elim is heartbreaking. The fact that we only saw LPL versus LCK in the actual final, that's not like region versus region, that's team versus team, right? Yeah. You don't get a good judge of regional strength really there, which is very disappointing. But also, if it was a double elimination, that bracket, the way that it pans out, doesn't actually matter, right? Because you get to see these matchups. You get to see the more matchups. And when we talk about the DRXs, when we talk about the G2s that fell to down one, we get to see them against other teams and maybe make it into the finals. So, a little bit of a heartbreaker. And I want to stick on the topic of single versus double elim because I think we all are in unanimous agreement in terms of the formats. So let's just move on from that one. I do want to kick it back to you again, Emily, because I feel like we've all sort of unilaterally segued away from your story. But I want to re-hit on the final point you brought up in your story, which was that LCS kind of came out of the blue for you. And I want to dig into that because I think historically with casters, it's very much been a case of like, certainly back in the ye olden days, it was like a job goes up on riotgames.com and everyone applies and the best person gets the job, right? And I feel like talent as a whole within broadcast has changed dramatically since then. So I was curious if you could elaborate a little bit on the process of you going from journalist at ESPN to ESPN closing their esports department to then you coming onto LCS.
Yeah, so the thing that we did at ESPN that like few people know because like they weren't really watched is that I was doing, I think, a show a day. Like I did every single ESPN Twitch show that they did, save one. So I think it was at least four shows a week that I was doing. So I actually benefited from the fact that very few people were watching these, but I was getting a lot of reps in terms of being comfortable on a stream or on a broadcast, not in an interview capacity, because I feel like video interviews I've been doing for years. So this wasn't that. It was actually being on something that's not like, just me and Kelsey like talking in hotel room at Worlds with like really bad lighting, and we don't have chairs, so we're like kneeling on the floor on the pillows off of my bed, and it's like really janky. And then there's another one where like she's in her room and I'm in my room, and the lighting is like swapped. Like mine is like super dark and my face is lit up, and then hers is like her room is super light, but her face is it was bad. Production values on that show were pretty great. But yeah, I was able to get in a lot of this in a really like no offense like low impact I guess environment, or like an environment where I wasn't just gonna get
low
flamed
risk
constantly. And so that really helped because it was just a lot of reps. So when I saw that the LCS was looking for people, I actually was like, I saw that there was a global job open, and I was like, oh, I want to do something with the global team because I want to do something with LPL. And I don't know if that job like exists anymore. Like I don't know of like what happened with that, or if they're still looking for people. But in the process of that, they're like, we're looking for people for LCS. Do you want to do that? And I was like, yeah, like obviously that's really fun. Like
that would be great.
Yeah, like I think
Sure.
people for some reason think I like hate North America, which I don't, because I've been pretty critical of the region, or just saying like, hey, you know, like they might not do well at Worlds because of like XYZ that I've seen that other teams do by default. But I don't hate North America. I actually really like a lot of the stuff that the LCS is doing, like I mentioned, especially with all the new talent coming in. So that's kind of how it happened. I think if I hadn't had all of that experience with ESPN, even though like the vast majority of the community didn't see it, I probably would not have gotten. But that's where I got a lot of my like experience from, outside of like my degree, which was way like seems like several lifetimes ago now. So obviously that is not applicable.
What was your degree?
Journalism, mass communications, and also fine arts. So I was double.
Well, you're more intelligent than I. I have 0 degrees.
That doesn't mean you're more intelligent. It means my parents could afford to send me to college.
I'm from the UK. That's not as big of an issue over here as it is over there.
Oh yeah. So in the US, it means your parents could afford to send.
Yeah.
No, I mean I'm joking because our education system's broken. But yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, these guys from still in the EU, by the way. I'm
yes.
We're our own part of Europe.
I got
Europe,
free college.
kinda.
It's right
Yes.
there. I got a free college.
Yeah, me too.
Freeloaders.
As long as I got it within 10 years, I did not have to pay for it, which I did. I mean, it's only
Within
6,
10 years. What a weird stipulation.
Yeah.
How many people are doing their degree for 11 years?
No. There used to be people that used to study for like 10 years. It was like a whole thing in like the 80s. And then they were like, actually, that's a little bit much.
That's like 3.5 degrees.
Well, no. I got a bachelor's and master's, right? This was just for your bachelor's. You could take 10 years plus on just your bachelor's. Isn't that lovely?
So that means you could like rotate through programs and just learn all this stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
honestly, like I know this sounds like
I'm moving
stupid
to
because I'm a
Central
huge
Europe.
nerd, but like I love studying stuff. Like I love learning things.
Yeah.
Like, I love going to classes and stuff.
I love pretending to study. I love being a student. So, like,
Emily,
let's get to Central Europe. Come on, we'll change careers here.
For anyone who doesn't know what it's like to work with Munch, Munch is the most distracting person on the fucking planet. Where we'll be sitting there and we're trying to organize assets for the next day. He'll be so I'll be sitting in the chair, and we used to live in kind of like an L-shaped room. So Munch would just pace the entire length of this L-shaped room as we're trying to do assets. But occasionally he would stop and say, because his girlfriend was living in the apartment at the time, so he'd start messing with like her eyelash stuff, her curlers,
she had
the
a
hair
curler
straightener
on the table. Not that any of this is true anyway, but she had a curler on the table.
No. So, like, every so often you'd be in the middle of this spiel and you're just on the tip of your tongue with this brilliant idea that you want to run with. You'd be like, mate, and you'd open your eyes and he's like, Can I curl your eyelashes? You're like, fuck off. Just get away from me. I need space to work here.
I will say.
And all the time, every time, it would just be like, sorry, I know you're really focused on something, but there's this really cute kitten on Twitter right now. I'm just like, oh, God, why are you on Twitter?
In my defense, first off, Dagda only looks so beautiful because of my input on his eyelashes. And second off, I can listen and scroll through kittens on Twitter at the same time. Okay, so let's just throw that out there. And also,
eyelash curlers of all things, I was terrified to use those.
right? It's like
I
a
did not-
guillotine,
They're
right?
contraptions.
Yeah, I'm
They
just
are,
like,
yeah.
I'm just like, I'm afraid I'm gonna blink and all of my eyelashes will be gone.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do it on Dagda and not on me. But
But this never happened.
They're really nice. My girlfriend always does it, and I always feel like very, very beautiful afterwards.
Nice.
Very,
Well, there you
very
go.
Happy for you.
dainty.
Yeah.
opposite side of the story. That's good.
So I should have let you do it, Munch, is what I'm learning.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, you should have.
You're at half of your beauty, your potential beauty level right now, Doctor. I do just want to add one little caveat. First off, in fact, two little caveats. The first one is that none of that is true. Don't listen to a word that he says. I am the most concentrating person in the world. Great sentence there, Joe. Really
I
proved
mean,
your point.
one of you two,
Yes.
one of you two is fluking out of LPL broadcast, and it's not you, Munch.
Yeah.
Oh no.
One of us has the
Sorry,
attention span to stay in an entire broadcast. Mr.
Wait,
Dagatron.
Sorry, I need
You
to.
have to speed it up as well. Like that for the real. That was so.
Yeah. There was one part, yeah, you're right. There was one part of the broadcast where you were lagging in a weird way, where your voice slowed down a bit and you sounded kind of drunk.
Yeah.
And then it would speed up to catch up, and you were like,
Oh,
super. It was like, oh, I nearly said it on cast. I was like, I shouldn't say this on cast. It was like
I love
casting with two different Irish people. The first one was a drunk Irishman, and the second one was a sober Irishman. Because sober Irishmen speak at the speed of light, and drunk Irishmen slow their words and speak really slowly. I was like, what is happening? I swear to God, this is just my dreams about me and Dagda casting.
So for anyone who doesn't know, in the area that I live in, they're digging up all the wires for the internet to put in fiber, which is why my internet has now gone to shit. So I've tried my regular internet. I have tried my phone, where I just connect with my phone, which is what I was doing today. That worked for like 90% of game one, and then was like, ha, everyone woke up, screw you. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So I'm trying to work out a system where maybe I can figure something out or go to somewhere. But we're also in lockdown in Ireland, which means I can only go to places within 5 kilometers of me. So my options are pretty limited right now. So I got to figure something out.
Yeah, and I just want to quickly reiterate for anyone that's listening, not today, basically, which is probably the majority of our audience, realistically. It's the 19th January right now. The games that we saw today were FPX versus Rogue Warriors and EDG versus LGD, week 3, day number 2. If you want to listen to the Dagatron in all of his glory, being a literal robot, that's the broadcast to go watch.
Oh,
We prepped super hard for these series. We were doing phone reviews. We had goals. Like, it was beautiful. And then Dagatron
we spent hours.
abandoned me.
So many
partway through
hours
game
just
number 1.
gone.
Incredibly
We
depressing.
could hear Dagda's aggressive typing when he thought he did disconnected, but then it turned out he didn't.
You have no idea how angry I was. I was so fed up.
I heard that typing, mate. I got at least an inkling of an idea.
Yeah.
Intimidating typing.
It's okay. So I told the guys before the stream, I got so frustrated. Mammy Price brought me up some jellies to make me feel better.
He's got
So
some Haribos.
that's how bad it was.
Did you know Haribo is actually... Oh, I just punched my microphone. Haribo is actually one of the few companies when it comes to like gummy sweets that actually does halal gummies. I don't know why I know that.
Oh.
But my dad used to live in Dubai, and if you're in certain places around the Middle East, Haribo actually changes their recipe so they make all of their gummies halal so that everyone can eat them. How great is that? And they also have vegan ones, so thumbs up, Haribo. Good job on being inclusive. And granted, they're only being inclusive so they can sell more sweets, but you know what? Still a thumbs up from me. Sorry, what were you saying, Chronicler?
Nongshim also has halal noodles. I found out earlier today because I was getting like the spicy cheese ramyun because they're amazing. Even though I don't know how bad they are for me. I know it's very, but like I don't know to what extent. But they're so good, right? And it was like an halal. I was like, oh, Interesting. I would have not expected these
Nice.
not to be halal. I wouldn't know why
Yeah,
they
there's
wouldn't be.
noodles, right? Like,
Yeah, nah, I don't
why
know.
are there animals
but
in these noodles?
I hope not.
Look, I'm a man who's very interested in food, but I'm gonna bring this conversation right the way
Yeah.
back because I got a question that I'm kind of curious to see what your guys' thoughts are. Because for me, like coming into the LPL was obviously super fucking daunting. I was like, God damn, I'm coming into a major region. I don't know the teams very well. I don't feel knowledge wise like I'm up to scratch. I'm gonna flub everything. And it was horrifying, to be honest. I was like, oh god, I'm going to fuck up everything. And I was wondering if that was maybe a similar story to what you guys had, or what were your thoughts when you first got the, hey, you're going to join the team? There's that 2 seconds of, oh shit, this is great. And then you're like, oh god, what? And you're just terrified. So, I mean, was that something similar to you guys, or what was the thoughts that kind of went into that?
I mean, I'm still terrified. Like, I'm terrified before anything I do. So I don't know if that's like,
Yay.
yeah, it's like you kind of use it as a weapon in a way. I mean, I take like pages and pages and pages of notes. I feel like you can't ever be like too prepared, but then alternatively, I already know that my problem on broadcast is that I try to add too much context. Because I'll be like, oh yeah, and this is really important, and this is really important, and this is really important, and then I'll now circle back to the initial
Yeah.
point that I was trying to make like a half hour ago. And you can't do that on stuff like Countdown and the analyst desk, right? Like you have to like get in and get out. So I already know that's going to be my problem. And hopefully the Riot team will continue to help me work on it. But yeah, like I was so terrified, and I still am. Like I'm terrified for this week, this coming week too. So I mean, I think like every time I am in front of a camera, I'm terrified though. So it was like a slightly different level of terror because I was like just waiting for the Reddit thread that's like Emily Rand sucks, get her off the broadcast. So you kind of like see that in your head, you know, but even when I like interview people that I've interviewed several times before, I'm always terrified every time I go on camera. I'm like, I don't want to screw this up. But I don't know if that's because I'm just a perfectionist.
Well, I will say, certainly on your interview content, that doesn't come across that you're terrified at all. It didn't come across that you're terrified on LCS. I do want to bounce off that quickly and ask you, Emily, like, in hindsight, like, what's your perspective of how well you did on LCS? I'm really curious on like what your impression is of how well you did on the broadcast, because I personally think you did an exceptional job. Countdown, especially on the first show, I thought was really, really good and like really in depth, which quite often on Countdown shows, especially right at the start of a season, can be very, very fluffy and very superfluous. So I thought you guys did a really, really good job. I'm curious what your impressions were of being on that broadcast for the first time and how you think you did.
I mean, I think I in a lot of ways kind of got carried by people around me, and when I say that, I mean like I think the preparation that goes into these broadcasts is like I knew there was going to be a lot of prep, but there obviously like you never want someone new to go out and look bad, right? So like you have an entire team of people who is helping you look really good. And you guys are talking about what you're going to talk about prior to the broadcast and stuff like that. I think for the analyst desk and Countdown on day one, I probably did better than when I was on Countdown on Sunday. I think my strengths are going to be in when I am able to look at stuff like early jungle pathing, or you know, like I really liked this specific instance in this game. Like I hope that I'll be able to bring more of that than like overarching player narratives, which is something I typically would address more in like an interview with a player or something. I don't know. I'd say like I feel like I have a lot of improvement to work on just in terms of like simple stuff like broadcast cadence. Like right now I've said like I think 20 times in this rambling sentence that I've had. and I say a lot. I don't transition well. And when I say that, I mean if someone is talking, like say it's me and Alarim, who I think work really well together because we look at different but complementary things in game, and we have the same nervous energy level. I think that in a good way though. That's like I'm saying like we can feed off of each other's energy really well. I think if if he's saying something and then it'll throw to me and I'll be like, yeah, reiterate point and then start, where you can just cut that entire part out, right? And just start talking about what I'm gonna say. A lot of stuff like that I need to work on. So I don't know, like 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10.
I think
who
you're
knows?
being incredibly harsh on yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think you did. Sorry, I'm sure Dagda has more to say here, but I think you did an exceptional job, especially on day one. I'm not going to pretend that I've watched every single broadcast of the LCS so far, but I will say 5 out of 10 is way underrating your performance so far. So I just want to say bravo. Very good job so far.
I think the thing is like you're comparing yourself to the people that are like the best in the biz, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're coming in with a huge amount of fucking background information and prep that you've done. And I think it's a bit much to kind of go, oh, well, we're just going to jump to this level straight off the bat. Like, I think you did 110% yourself proud. And I think you should be incredibly proud of what you have achieved. And on the very side note, again, I tried to mimic your jungle pathing notes when I joined the LPL. Because I was like, this is genius. I'm going to learn so much. Holy shit, they are intense. I tried to sit down and do one. I was like, fuck me. I've spent like an hour and a half on this thing. What has happened?
You get used to it.
I don't know. I don't know. I was like, how do you do that? And I was like, I spent like 15 minutes color coding this thing and it still doesn't make sense to me. I'm actually like, the prep that you do is the thing that I think impresses me the most, is like how well prepared you are and the depth of background information and everything else you have to draw on is what makes you so spectacular on a broadcast like this, where you're able to, not only do you have like a huge amount of information that you have at your fingertips, but also the huge amount of information you've stored on your PC that you've actually just backed up is so incredible. I think that's what makes it beautiful to see on the LCS, is the level of prep now being shown on a broadcast where it deserves to be shown.
Oh, thank you. I don't really know how to accept compliments, so just.
I mean, that was pretty good for someone who doesn't know how to accept compliments. So
yeah. Thank you is pretty much always like the pretty good, pretty good response.
That's great.
The worst response is usually, "No, you're wrong. I'm really shit at that." Speaking from experience, though.
Yes.
So I wanted.
Not relatable at all. Laughter.
Chronicler, I want to shift a similar topic over towards you.
Oh boy.
Obviously, LCK has not begun yet for you in terms of getting over to Korea. I'm sure that is underway. I'm not going to pry on the.
Oh no, it is. I mean, I don't mind talking about it. Like, Riot has been exceptionally helpful. Like, they've had my back at every step of the way thus far, and hopefully, I'll be on the LCK by the end of this month.
Fingers crossed.
Let's go.
That's not long.
Too far.
That's like 11 days, man.
That's next week. Yeah. Don't remind me.
How are you feeling?
Mate, I still think I'm on a fucking prank show. Like, no, it is. I don't know. I don't really have words for it because, like, it. I don't feel like. Obviously, there's like a really big level of imposter syndrome, because you got to imagine. I feel like in general, I come from. Like, I love the Benelux, right? Like, I love that region. I've spent like my last couple of years there. Even though I already enjoyed my stint in the UK, like I've have very close ties to the players, to the history, etc. But I feel like, why the fuck are they pushing me? Like, what happened? Like, what did I show in those interviews? Because, like, I don't fucking see it. I don't know where they got it.
I see it, mate.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, if everyone like keeps telling you that they're enthusiastic, then you should probably believe it. But I'm just not there yet. I feel like I'm not going to be until I've like been on the broadcast for 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, actually, this is real cool. I didn't really, because again, like you got to understand like how much I've loved the LCK for the last, like I said, like 8 years, and I'm so like I've been so passionate about the players, about the casters, the culture, like everything, right? Like because when I did my applications, because you had to for my exchange semester, I had to like apply for stuff, right? And I had this whole spiel about like I love Korean culture and I really want to like go as far away as I humanly can, which in part was true. But the main reason was I wanted to see some fucking StarCraft. Like I wanted to see some League of Legends like up close. And then yeah, to be able to go from that to actually doing it, I don't know. Like I still don't really. Yeah, you can sense the shock and just general befuddlement where I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm jetting. I'm flying to Korea next week. Like I don't.
That's
Yeah.
exciting, man. So I'm going to put you on the
That's
spot
the greatest
now.
strength you can have, though. It's like you're obviously really passionate about it, and that will come through on broadcast. It already comes through now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. Like the fact that you're talking about, hey, I want to live in Korea. I want to do this job so I can live in Korea. That's like that's a good start at very least. The fact that you like League of Legends too is pretty handy.
Yeah.
So I want to put you on the spot a little bit here, and feel free to veto this. Like no pressure. But you're live in front of probably, I assume, thousands and thousands of viewers.
Yeah, naturally.
Or like 40. But it could be either. Could be either.
Who knows?
Sell me a Korean team. Who's the team that speaks to you this split? Like as someone, I've literally watched like 2 games of LCK this split, so I don't know what's going on.
No, man.
Who should I be a fan of?
No, man. That's.
Who are you a fan of?
I'm legitimately emotionally invested in every single team. Maybe like I think like I'm not super hyped on Fred and Breon because they seem pretty clueless, even though I like Hoya. But like, yeah, I can give you like a 10-second pitch on every single team if you want. Like that would suit me much better.
Give me a 10-second pitch. Oh no, give me a proper pitch on the most interesting team to you. Pick a team, pitch me that team. I want you to sell. I'm going to be a fan of this team for the rest of my life. Okay, so
it's not just Damwon Gaming Kia, right?
It's
just Damwon.
Damwon are boring, man. They win everything. Winning's boring.
Okay, so no. I'm sorry, Munch. I'm gonna work down to it, right? But like, this is the thing, right? Like, I care so much about like every single team is such a cool way that they come into the league. I guess like Fred at Brian, Liv Sandbox, I feel like, but even Liv Sandbox, like they're fucking Croco, and that guy's insane. I don't know why he's been doing, but like him at Casper Cup was mind blowing. Okay, if we gotta choose, no, I can't.
All right, give us a top 2 or something.
And by my team, I don't mean KT because I'm KT fan.
We'll do KT. If you haven't, we'll do KT. Come on, it's got to be UCal, right? Like that guy is already dealing with the fact that like the community thinks he's washed up. He's 19. It's a fucking 19-year-old, and people think that he's like, no, he's past his peak. Like he's fucked. Like it's over, and that's. The problem is that you're playing against people like fucking Showmaker, like Faker, like a closer who apparently is, actual baby Faker in this scenario. Against Chovy, who's also a freak of nature that just always wins lane and always gets 15 CS, even when his entire team's like burning, and like everyone's feeding. And like it doesn't matter. Chovy will get a CS. But I think KT really speaks to me, and I think a lot of people, because like it's such a storied organization, right? And they have such a history of like really getting their fans excited every single time, and then fucking nosediving into the ground. And there's just no end to that. Like being a KT fan is fucking masochism, right? You're just like, yes, like everything. Yes, this is entire. Yes. Oh, that's part of the joy of watching it. And that is something that, because I was doing prep for my interview. Wait, I'll pull those notes up. Because what I didn't actually know as a casual watcher of the LCK was really how far back some organizations go. Because as I found out, like, let me check the exact, I don't actually know if they have them. Because like basically there's teams that like, I mean, everyone knows like Genji used to be Samsung, right? But then you have like Rox Tigers used to be Coup Tigers used to be like there's so much history in that. And I think that's something that as LPL fans will also really like sound very recognizable to you guys. It's like how far back these lines really go. And as someone who's been there for every step of the way, it's just like it's so good, right? Like it's everything you see is like a continuation of that story. So then even if the team fucking runs it down like KT the last couple of splits, like when they show flashes, you're like,
It reminds you. It reminds you of the greatness.
It's a really interesting conversation though, because especially as people that work in a broadcast now, it's like, how far back do you go? Like, I don't know how new my viewership is. And actually, Emily, you brought it actually triggered in my head when you were talking about insec earlier, almost like it's not called an insec anymore. It's called a kickback. If you actually think of the last couple of times people have been talking about this Lee Sin play, it's and Lee Sin gets the kickback. It's not called an insec anymore. Yeah, actually listen to broadcasts. People don't say he gets the insec. It's and the Lee Sin gets the kickback. And I think it's because this general transition away from insec isn't as prominent as it used to be, and we don't want to be this, excluding of new viewership.
I don't think it's as cognizant as that. I think it's just
maybe not
becomes so synonymous with how Lee Sin has to be played to be viable at all.
Yeah, but I think it still brings the conversation of like what is relevant. Like, and I think when we have IG versus WE, we had this conversation between ourselves and the LPL was, I mean, these go back to 2013. They played in the very first LPL. Like, is that relevant to 2021?
Like 2011, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or like
I had actually hang on. I have a document that I created. We're all looking at documents now that we've created for our leagues.
Everyone create a doc. We'll all just go through a doc each. All right? How's that sound?
Hang on.
That sounds really exciting.
Cruel Catastrophic Memory was 2011. And
2011. So in WCG 2011 China, Invictus Gaming beat WE in the finals. In 2012, they played at World Game Master Tournament 2012, where WE beat IG in the finals. They played in the Kung Fu Cup, which was WE organized show matches. The Kung Fu Cup.
That's a real thing that happened.
That is a real thing that happened, where WE beat IG 3-0. Ultimate Game Tournament, WE beat IG in the finals. World Esports Masters 2012, WE beat IG in the gaming finals. Am I ever going to bring this up in broadcast? Probably fucking not. But it was like, look, these guys have been playing for so long, and it's a very like serious question that I'm curious to see what people's thoughts are, and like, what's relevant anymore? Like, am I only looking at the last 3 years, 4 years? This is a game that's been going for 10 years. Like, how relevant are things anymore?
And that's the beauty of it, though, isn't it? That we get to decide that. You talked about it earlier on in the show, Dagda, how, like, as broadcast talent, to an extent, we get to define this narrative. Like, we get to choose. And one of the things, like, certainly in the context of teams like OMG, where, like, this is totally subjective. This is totally personal opinion on my part. I have nothing particularly positive to say about OMG. Last year, they were the team I was least excited about in the LPL. This year, they're the team I'm least excited about in the LPL. I don't like OMG. I'm sorry. If you're the guy that owns OMG, I don't know what to tell you, man. Your team sucks. But goddamn, every time I cast that team, I'm like, hey, 2014 OMG, though, they were pretty good, right? Cool was pretty good. Like, that it's like the amount of history that these orgs have is so great to be able to fall back on and to be able to talk about in the context of the team and talk about in the context of like there's a bit of pressure there to these organizations that have been around for almost 10 years. Like when you're looking, like let's say Closer versus Faker, right, is a great example of like you have to live up to a legacy here. And then when you consider teams unlike T1 that have not performed recently, that performed 5 years ago and haven't performed since, like EDG right now, that now have this brand new roster that's suddenly sparkling and feeling real good. Like, there's pressure on these players to be able to maintain
brand new roster that we want to see clear love.
We're on week number 3 right now, and they're looking great. Suddenly, every EDG fan across the planet is like, EDG's going to win Worlds, right? There is so much pressure on this EDG
you
roster to
you
maintain
have
this for 12
Viper,
months.
And Viper is the absolute nuts. Like Viper's insane.
Yeah.
That guy was on a shit team last split, and like he was like leading in some stats. That's actually insane.
So
But
for
like,
EDG,
yeah.
Sorry, go on.
Nah. So like in terms of legacy, like so I'm a broadcaster, right? Like and obviously people
I can
care about
believe
the
it.
casters. I mean, I still don't, but obviously people like they care about but like what really matters is the players, right? Like we're just conduits to tell the stories of the players, to like to hype them up, to build them up, etc. And like I already feel so much, and this is pressure that I put on myself, following up after Monte Cristo and Doa, which in my eyes are still like one of the greatest caster couples, up there with like Artosis and Tasters in terms of like how iconic they are, right? And then you have Papa Smithy, and then you have Alas. I think Alas is interesting because he's a lot more controversial, a lot more polarizing in how he approaches the game and like how he does stuff. But he's still like such a big impact. But my point being, I'm already feeling a lot of pressure. And in the grand scheme of things, I'm not that important. I'm just the guy who explains you what the players are doing. It harks back to what I said earlier, like to really understand what is happening in front of you, you have to understand the legacy of these games. And I feel like LPL and both LCK like have this more than LEC, but I don't really know why. Because like G2 and Fnatic have been around. Fnatic in particular has been around since forever as well, right? Team Liquid, which by the way, if you don't know, Dutch team, that's us.
That's true,
right?
yeah, that's true.
Victor Goossens, that's my boy.
It was a European org way back when.
It's the founder is Dutch.
I mean,
right?
it, like theoretically still is, but let's be realistic here.
Yeah, no. I mean, like
it's an NA org at this point.
Yeah. I don't know if he's involved. Although there's still, they recently opened a new training facility in Utrecht, which apparently is amazing.
I have
but
no
they're
idea
an
if he
NA
sold. I have absolutely
Sorry?
no idea. Actually, I said I have absolutely no idea if he sold his
I haven't kept up with what NASCAR has been doing. But regardless of that, like I feel
you keep talking, I'll start googling. Okay, how's that?
Yeah, do that. I don't know how you feel about this, Emily, because obviously, like, I've watched LCK, I've watched some LEC, I watch Liquid games, and I'm a big Impact fan, so I watch his games every now and then. But that's mainly it for me for LCS. I feel like LCK is extremely heavy on this, like the history and like the legacy aspect of it. But I don't feel that as strongly in the LCS. But maybe that's completely different if you're on the broadcast.
Do you listen to, because you brought up something that's like tangentially related that I think is super funny, or not funny like in haha funny, but like interesting.
It's fun. I'm hard to offend.
Have you, oh no, it's like not an offensive thing, but how much Korean do you speak? Have you ever listened to the Korean broadcast?
I have just started.
Okay.
So I can say, 안녕하세요. Union Chronicler.
See, I can say that.
Newton,
and I've never even tried.
But I can read Hangul now, albeit slowly. So that's good, right?
Like, come see Nahada.
So we had an interview. We had an interview with for the LPL Spring Finals where it was me and Munch on the desk, and so we tossed the interview to Wendy. Wendy does a fantastic job, and I'm trying to explain to Munch because we had so it's JDGs. We had
it's Kanavi
and Loken who came on, and they were doing the interview in Korean.
I know they're like this far away from
like
us.
6 feet away from us. Like you can literally touch the guys. And I'm trying to say to Munch, hey, you should say 감사합니다 after the interview's done. So Munch is like, what in the hell is this? So I write out.
Never spoken a lick of Korean. There's very little Korean in the north of England, I'll admit.
Or like
okay.
actually how it's like 감사.
So I write out like CAM. Cam, like C is in see this thing, and knee is in your joint. So I was like, I tried to phonetically say this thing. So we come back off the broadcast. I come back to us off of the interview, and Joe's like, Kam Sam Ni Da. And you just see the two lads who are about to walk out of the room just stop and go, I'm sorry, what in the fuck? And break the products laughing at what Joe was just saying in the background. It was amazing.
Listen, very short interjection. Did you see the Showmaker content they released today?
No.
Is this the sunglasses one, or is this a different
no. Well, like,
okay.
So Sunmi is just like this huge Korean setup. And like they did a content piece, Damon Kia, while like a showmaker's meeting her, and like she gives him selfie lessons because like way back she took a picture with his jersey and like became a whole meme.
Oh, I saw
And
that.
then-
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, like as she walks away, he says "Annyeonghaseyo," and everyone's like, "What the fuck did you just say, you moron?" Because he's like so nervous. He's like, "So I'm like, oh shit,
does that
I'm meeting
mean?
my idol. What do I do?"
Hello.
So that's
It
like
means
hello,
hello.
but not hello as in when someone leaves, but hello as in
Yeah.
hello.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Because you have
it's like
different forms for that.
안녕하세요, and then like 안녕하세요.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is above my...
Anyway, sorry, Emily,
Based on
continue.
Dagda's anecdote, this is
I know.
way above
Like-
my level of
Like
understanding.
I should make it clear that my level of Korean is like pretty bad. Like I've tweeted about what my level is and how I'm studying and stuff. But I
I was
listened
going
to
to
the
ask
Korean.
you about that afterwards, so thanks for the reminder.
yeah. I was listening to the Korean broadcast, and one thing that I've always found super interesting is the massive difference in how the English broadcast of LCK is perceived and how the Korean broadcast of the LCK works. Because from what I can understand, which again is I would say like about a third of what's going on in terms of like the cast.
Mhm.
So like take that with like when you're considering my
Yeah.
opinion on this. But from what it seems like, the LCK, because of A, just how dynamic Monty and Doa were, but B, the way they came up during the time when Korea was definitively the best region in League of Legends, how every time like whatever top Korean team, how they approached the game ended up becoming the way that you are supposed to play the game. The English broadcast of the Korean League of Legends scene became like the smart broadcast, like the English cast of it did, right? Like, and whoever watched the LCK, those were the people who like wanted to know how you played the game at the highest level.
Or listen to a podcast, right? Like that was the 50. It was either complete memes or like super serious.
Yeah. Well, then like you listen to the Korean cast, and so they cover all of this stuff on like Analyst Desk. But then when you listen to the cast, it's just like wow, like they're just like, did you see that? You know, like, yeah, like they're just like yelling the entire time, and it's a lot of memes. And so I think it's really interesting to compare and contrast the domestic broadcast to the perception of the English one, because I do think like there is a certain pressure that's on you that's not on me because I'm going into LCS. That is very like, you're the smart broadcast, you know? I don't know if you feel that or not, or if that's just like my perception.
Yes, I do.
He now does.
Yeah, he didn't until now, yeah.
That's okay. Nothing that wasn't already there, guys. I need to we can't do clips, right? Because like there's this one StarCraft Brood War clip, and it's just Korean casters shouting "Plague." That's it. That's the whole clip. Do you guys know that? Emily, do you know this? Because you said you
Yeah,
like Google,
I've
right?
seen
You
it
do.
before.
I've
Yeah.
not seen that clip.
Okay, I'll link it to you. It's the most it's the most glorious casting, because basically what happens, you have these mutalisks, right, which are like Zergly bats, so they're like spooky alien bats, and they get hit by a spell, and it's plague, and plague like spreads through the units, and literally you're just seeing like these pixels on your screen, and then the Korean guys go like plaguer, and they fucking lose their shit, right? And like every time, you're right, Emily. Every time I do hear the Korean cast, don't speak a lick of Korean, like I said, very, very beginner level. But like they're always super high-fee. Whereas, LCK broadcast, I feel like has in English has become kind of its own thing.
You kind of reminded me of something there, and I would recommend all viewers and listeners to just chuck that into Google. I'm sure if you search the word Plague, I'm sure
Plague Brood War, you'll find the clip.
But I want to also give you guys a suggestion of something to look up, because this is kind of in the annals of League of Legends history now. I don't know if you guys remember a tournament called IEM. It was something ESL used to do way back in the day. Big fan as a ESL alumni. Maybe slightly biased here, but there was this one IEM. I don't remember which IEM it was, but there was an ARAM that was cast, and there was like 7 English casters on the broadcast. There was like D-Man, Monte Cristo, Jat, I actually don't remember who it was. I just remember there was a lot of them, like too many of them. And they were like, we're going to cast this ARAM like Korean casters. And every single time anything happens, they just start screaming. If you've never watched the Korean broadcast, you want an idea of what it's like without ever watching the Korean broadcast, just search that on YouTube. IEM English casters do Korean or something like that. You'll probably find it. It's very funny. It was amazing at the time. It's like very much a... I don't know. It was something within the League of Legends community that at the time was like very much a funny thing to talk about, the differences between the regions. And so I would say that is quite a fun history lesson to go down, because obviously IM doesn't happen anymore. We don't get independent tournaments
in the heart.
Really. Yeah, I know.
Still there.
I kind of wish that, especially during off season, we would have more independent tournaments. But certainly the top teams, I understand why they're not competing. I wish we would have more tier 2 in the off-season.
Any like StarCraft fan will have any IEM or
I mean, it's still like IEM still exists, right? CS:GO, StarCraft, etc.
You know,
it's
not
It's not League of Legends, but it still exists.
As an aside to this, I made the mistake of becoming a Life fan in StarCraft 2. Where I was like, oh, this guy looks really, really good.
Oh no!
And then I just tuned in one day, and then I was like, yeah, Life is... did he go to prison? Like, he definitely got fined, but did he go to prison for match fixing?
Man.
Like, I know he was like done for.
I know he was convicted, but
You could say that he went away for life.
No, Munch. No, this is the match
it was
fixing
really
is no
hurtful.
go.
I was so sad.
No.
Yeah, because he was really
so
good.
Sad because he was insane. It's one of those things where you didn't have to do this kind of things.
He was so good. He was mind blowing.
I think it was Dongray Gu versus Life, and there was just like Dongray Gu rushed him, and like DRG had got like a couple of Zerglings into the base, and you see Life like microing his workers beautifully to finish off the rush. I think it was DRG. I actually looked for the clip, but I couldn't find it. So if anyone does find it, please send it my way. I want to watch it again. But he micros beautifully and actually kills off with like maybe 5 HP on every single one of his workers as he's held this beautifully, and then wins the game off of that push. But like, there was moments like that. Was like, Life is a beast. And then I looked. I was like, is he though? Is all this been a lie? Is this all been a lie? I was like,
honestly, I think StarCraft 2 is like, I know this is very contentious, right? Like, and I'm already
ready to flame you. I don't know what you're going to say, but I'm fucking ready. Whatever you say, I'm going to disagree with you.
But StarCraft 2 is still my favorite esport of all time. Like that, like it like
bullshit, dude. It's Overwatch.
Thank you. No. Casting Overwatch is so weird. It's the same as casting Hearthstone. It's like it feels like you have no transferable skills. Like Overwatch kind of works, but
I love it.
No, I know.
I used
to.
I
don't
anyway,
have the
until Blizzard fucked me over.
I know.
Different conversation.
It's okay.
Continue.
It's okay, man.
I'm just interrupting you now.
No, it's okay. You can interrupt me. Do you want to keep interrupting me?
Do you know what I do? Let's talk about something else.
Continue.
Please, Chronicler.
You want to interrupt?
Story.
Okay. No, StarCraft 2 is great. That's it.
So I think part of it is I miss GGs. I miss GGs. I miss the moment of like, holy shit, it's over, GG. Like,
GG well played.
Like the most iconic moments are like Artosis just going, hey, I mean, GG, it's done. And then I look at League of Legends sometimes, I'm like, this game's fucking over. It's 15 minutes of the game. You're 5k goal behind. Why are we playing this out? And you just got to do the slow trudge through to go like, yeah, cool, okay. So they take all the towers. They're basically just waiting for Baron to be up so they can finish off this game. It's like, for fuck's sake, why are we still here?
That would be.
I miss that.
Yeah, there will be such a cool alternative timeline where like forfeiting, like you do in StarCraft, will be accepted in League of Legends. Like
it was initially.
Yeah,
and then
it was.
Yeah.
Which
wasn't it like a world semi-final or something that changed
unlucky.
it? Where someone wasn't it like when TPA were playing in season 2, someone FF'd a world's final game and they hated it. Like I'm trying to rack my brain of like the point at which this changed, because it was a thing. You're absolutely right. It definitely was a thing.
And it like we already talked about this, the Idra moment, right? Like it was so like what?
But that adds story. Doesn't that add more than take away?
That's
right?
the point. Yes, that is. Thank you, Munch. That is indeed the point that we were all making.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Well, I appreciate you mocking me. This is the last time you come on Bevvies With The Boys, buddy. That's not true. Maybe you'll come on again. We'll see.
We'll
We'll see how you behave. It depends on how many points you have.
Imagine
at the
if
end
I
of the class.
fucking sprinted during my first LCK cast, just like straight
Dude,
up,
you got
never
it. You've got it. Don't worry.
immediately get booed. No, I'm kidding. Like that won't happen. But imagine though, Munch.
Yeah.
And then you can ask me back and ask me, what did you do?
I'm gonna offer you a VOD review just so I can personally flame you. We can just spend an hour of me just like ripping you apart. It's gonna be great, dude.
I love it.
I'm
I
joking.
feel like you
by the
guys are
way.
being much nicer to Emily than to me. But that's you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Emily's also
'cause we
always
like
been
her
on
To
more.
me, it's,
But-
it's
No,
okay.
but but you've been on LCS and you've been great, right? So like you're still safe. And also, I know I already know
Well,
you
also,
already.
I'm
difference-
not a caster is the other thing. Like, if
Well-
there's like a lost to time cast where I was going to do a CBLOL cast with one of my friends
Oh.
because we were like, oh yeah, like we're gonna cast CBLOL going into 2015 because they don't have an English cast, and then we got shut down first day. They were like, yeah, you can't do this. Like, shut it off. Like, we're not doing it. But I did cast an NEST series before that with the same person, and we were like asking Kelsey for feedback, and then she's just like, "You are not good," in the best way possible. But like, yeah, I was the color caster, and I was like so bad. Like, my problem is that I'm so much better when I can go back and look at the game and like prepare, because A, I second guess myself a lot, and B, I will hyper focus on things and not see the larger picture, and that's actually like the worst thing you can do as a color caster. So yeah.
Yeah, I was
Good
going to
thing those
ask
are
you.
lost to time.
I was going to ask you because you were like at the beginning of the show, like, yeah, I'm never going to cast. I'm a bad cast. I was like, why? But thank you for preemptively answering that.
All right. Dagda,
So
I
two
think
things
you got a
real quick.
question. Yeah.
Two things real quick were Chronicler, you're gonna kill it. Like, you're gonna do absolutely fantastic. But Emily has also been a big LPL fan for a long time, and I can see Mirko Stars has also hit on it that like she's helped us. She's grown with us, whereas you steal people from us on the LCK. So this
Yeah,
is why we got to give you a lot of shit. Yeah,
You know,
Yeah,
actually,
man, get off of our show.
know-
Wait,
you know
what?
we had a-
Is that what you say,
you know-
Dagda? Sorry, I'm getting real territorial right now.
no. But, I like I've casted one series ever with Munch, and it was a 1v1 tournament, and it was splendid. So nothing
great.
ever says can like nothing ever says can ever like hit me again, right? Like it's good now. So it's
We've
completely
casted
fine.
together with brothers for life, brothers in
Exactly.
arms. You know?
That's honestly that's how it works. But no, like we've actually I was gonna gloat, but now it feels bad, so I'm not gonna do it.
No,
anymore.
gloat. Do it.
No,
This
I'm
is
not
your
gonna gloat.
platform.
Do it.
I
Go
officially
on.
give you
Yes.
Bevvies With The Boys permission
So-
to gloat.
Okay.
You get the
so-
stamp. You get
Obviously, you know, I was just doing it behind the scene because obviously, I still try to help as much as I can on the broadcast without actually being there or being involved directly, just by like analysis and stuff. But we actually hit, I think, the highest viewership for a regular match ever with T1 versus Damon Kia. You know,
Damn.
that's awesome. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was like 22 or 220.
Bravo.
K.
Damn.
Yeah, it was fucking insane. I mean, it was game
I was
3,
watching
right?
actually. I
And I
didn't
mean,
realize
yeah,
that was
I
the
was
highest
like-
ever, but that's fucking high.
I think for regulars, I mean, I might be wrong here. I don't know. Please don't find me, LCK. I really want to be there.
They're probably watching right now and wondering
Oh,
whether you get the
definitely.
number right. You're an analyst. You have to get every number right. Okay, that's the rules.
Yeah, so
I'm
that
waiting.
actually kind of leads me on to the interesting topic I kind of wanted to touch on was like, and Emily, you kind of hit on this a little bit already, is like the fan expectation versus your expectation of coming into a new broadcast. Because I know I get told a lot when I was coming in from like when I joined EU Masters, it was like, hey, if people talk shit about you, you probably did okay. If you haven't heard anything, you've actually done a good job.
You're on
if
par.
nobody talks about you, yeah, you've hit the mark. And I think coming into LPL specifically for myself, I was super fucking worried. I was like, God damn, like Raz has come through this region for us. Kieran has come through this region. Like Pastry Time, Clement. Like there's such a history of like Papa Smithy. The amount of history that has come through the LPL has been absolutely insane. I know Atlas is there as well. I'm like, I've got such a legacy to live up to here, and I just expected to get goddamn roasted. I just thought I was going to get torn absolutely asunder.
Yes, I'm still
and-
there. Continue.
Yeah, and that's the thing I want to hit on is like, as the new people coming in, like, it is such a daunting experience. Like, do you have any steps to kind of to deal with that, or are you just kind of like, look, I'm gonna walk in and hope that I don't get punched in the gob the second I walked in?
No, man. Like, I think my experience thus far with both Atlas and Valdez has been like super good. I'm not worried at all. Like, I'm fucking terrified, but like simultaneously, I think that even if I'm a nervous wreck or like an actual, not an actual corpse, but figuratively an actual corpse, like they'll still drag me over the finish line, right? Like I already have enough faith in my co-casters, if that makes sense, that like no matter how much I run it down, I have faith. And like you said, I'm super passionate, and I feel like in the long run, I'm going to be fine anyway. It's just like getting through the initial couple of broadcasts, which still very much terrify me. I don't have anything in particular to deal with that. No, just go with it. Like, just run in heads first, see what happens.
What about you, Emily?
I mean, I think my advice kind of remains true, but I like what Chronicler brought up there in that, like, if you have faith in the people around you, and like I already kind of hit upon this earlier, the people who were working, especially that first countdown desk, like, were really good about making sure I was in the show, but also we were communicating really well and we weren't stepping on each other, and we were all like kind of focused on making a good product. So even though like I don't feel like I messed up like majorly, but I know that if I had, the people around me definitely would have been able to recover, right? And it wouldn't have looked nearly as bad as like I would have thought it was in my own head.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at like getting into like I said, negative feedback loops. So like I will do something and then all I'll be able to see in it are the flaws instead of the like what I did well, which I think has helped and hurt me throughout my career. So I don't really have any good advice except like don't do that because it can be really bad.
Thank you.
Don't do what I did.
Yeah.
And also just like I guess surround yourself. Like I'm really, really fortunate to have like kind of an amazing group of friends that I've met through esports that are always there for me when I doubt myself. And so get that. I don't know how that happened to me, but like,
Build that support network.
thank you.
Yeah.
I
I have that.
I want to
Oh,
bounce.
sorry, Munch.
I want to bounce off of that slightly, and I want to turn this question around at the Dagatron himself, because I don't know if anyone knows this. He's a robot sent from the future to talk about League of Legends. I just want to quickly clarify that. But like you posed this question as someone that came from this expectation yourself. Like, what were your mechanisms to deal with this in your first year of the LPL?
And well, this is why I kind of asked the question is I don't felt like I dealt with that very well, because coming into the LPL.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
great. That's really reassuring. Thank you, Dagda.
No,
Thank you.
but this is why. Like I'm the dude who's done the LPL for 1 year now, and people are like, hey, he's the dude. But like, I still struggle with this. Where, looking back at my. Like, even now, looking at my knowledge and the amount that I know about the LPL, like, the LPL stretches back years. Like, do I know what Clear Love is like? No, but I watched a video where it's the Vishio Jat and someone else talking about Clear Love, and I suppose that's enough that'll do the trick. But it's like, from that perspective, looking at the amount of knowledge that I need, and even keeping up to date with matchups and how, like, why is Zaya in the meta in LPL, but when I talk to Grabs in G2, he's like, I've never fucking seen this thing before. Why the fuck is it a thing? Like, it's stuff like this where I kind of go, oh,
He should know. He lost in finals to it.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean specifically this year. It's
Munch.
yeah, but it's a lot of stuff like this where I still, and actually I know where I emphasize with Chronicler and what Emily have been saying is I deal a lot with imposter syndrome as well, where I'm like, I don't know all the ins and outs. I feel like I should know everything about this fucking game, and I don't know everything that's to do with this game, and that's why it's been again, kind of what Emily is saying is building the support system that's around you, because you're not going to know everything about this game. There's going to be the comments and feedback that says, hey, you should have known that this was the thing. You should have known exactly how this matchup worked, or how this interaction worked, or that he was pathing this way to that way to do this thing. Why didn't you spot this? So I think there's a lot of where building up that support system and people who are going to go, hey, rather than, hey, you missed this thing, you fucking idiot. You go, hey, you missed this thing. Here's where you can learn about this, or here's the video that talks about this thing, or here's the feedback. And to name one person in particular, well, two people, Veteran has been really good at this, and Kelsey Moser has been fantastic at this over the course of everything. Has been like, hey, you said this thing that was and Raz as well, actually have said this thing that's a little bit messed up. Here's the actual information that you need to fix this. So I think it's about building these people that have been really, really strong over the course of the year, that have just given me that feedback. And like specifically, Raz has been like the MVP for LPL. I know he's been across everyone's feedback, but just these people that give you the information you need and kind of go, hey, this is what you actually need to progress, rather than, you fucking tool, why didn't you know this?
Yeah. I think I want to add on to that as well from the perspective of a play-by-play. And I think Chronicler will be able to relate to this ever so slightly, as you've done kind of both roles in casting.
I have, just all right. Like, because Benelux is a small region, right? So I've done both full time over the last year.
You gotta tick the boxes, right? When in UK scene represent, I know that feeling, man. In fact, LPL represent. I'm ticking both boxes right now, but this is a different conversation. Yeah, I think that when it comes to being able to succeed in broadcast within esports, and this applies to color, this applies to play-by-play, this also applies to roles outside of those, like people that are working in production in esports, people that want to get in esports. Like, play-by-play and color are not the only two jobs within esports. There are journalists, there are producers, there are camera directors, there are in-game directors, there are like 1,000 different jobs within esports. I'm speaking this from someone that worked at ESL for 4 years and then worked at another company in Las Vegas. I worked all over the world, like doing different things within esports, and I always wanted to be a caster. I was not always a caster throughout my career. I'm telling you, there are a lot of jobs within esports. So whether or not you become a caster immediately, do not give up on your passion. Like, keep true to the cause, and show people that you believe and that you're competent, and you will find work within esports. But the key thing that I want to get across here is that regardless of what your role is, finding the right people within that role to give you advice and help you through the hard times is so crucial to being able to succeed in this industry. Because while I don't think it is the way that it should be, as of right now, the way that esports works, and this is fairly sexist terminology, but it's an old boys club. Like, the more people you know in esports, the better it is for you right now. And I think that would change with time. I think it would become more professional. I think it would become more, welcoming as an industry. But as of right now, like, the more context that you have, the generally speaking, the better that you will do. So my advice to you, as people that are listening to this podcast, that are listening to us casters talking about first casts and talking about how to succeed, my advice is talk to as many people that you can. Talk to and tell them about your passion. When you're talking to people within the industry, do not suddenly become nervous because, oh fuck, this is a person within the industry. Like, tell them who you are, tell them why you care, tell them why you're passionate about this sport and about what you give a shit about this, right? Like, when we was asking Chronicler, he got nervous about telling me which is his favorite LCK team. I love the LPL apparently, but like,
really,
yeah, I know it's kind of hard to believe, right?
Again.
But like, live it. Don't be embarrassed of what you love. Like, really sell this shit to the people, because especially if you want to be a caster specifically, you got to be able to sell it to the audience. So if you can't sell it to the person that's interviewing you, that's your beginning point. You gotta start on a strong foot. So do not be afraid.
I don't know what your experience is, but like, I don't know. As a caster, I feel like I've got it so fucking easy. I turn up at like 3 in the afternoon,
right?
And then I do nothing for like 4 hours.
Listen.
And then I talk for 4 hours.
Don't
and
even
then I head
begin,
home.
man.
Yeah.
I worked as a
fucking-
producer. I was working
Yeah, I
18-hour
was about to
days for
say,
months straight.
this
Like,
was-
don't
so
even
this
fucking
was-
begin with me
This
with
was
that shit.
building up, like fucking behind the screen talent are the real fucking heroes. Because if I see
Yeah.
the hours that my producer makes in the Benelux, that my the not just the producer, but like everyone involved, all the tech, all the makeup artists, like there's so many fucking man hours that go into a show and there's talent. I just like, hello, hey everyone, you've been working all day, how you doing? And I just fucking sit there, read about a video game, and then I go on and I talk about it for 4 hours, and then I fucking peace out. Well, they have to like shut everything down, cool it off, make sure everything's ready for like, man, production can't get enough shout outs.
They are the unsung heroes
Yeah,
of esports,
seriously.
honestly. It's
Yeah,
not even
like
honestly.
it's insane. But also I feel like something that obviously in my case didn't come true, but I know and I'm sure you guys do as well, because you've all been in the scene for a really long time. I think that unfortunately, and this is not just esports, this is anything in life, but I feel like with esports is kind of, it's not said as often. You can do everything right. You can be a fucking amazing caster. You can be super passionate about the game, super like easy to work with, and you can still fucking get nowhere. Right? Like I've seen this happen to multiple people who then just burn out on like the lower levels, just never make that next step, never like kind of you called it accelerating Munch, like, you know, getting that network, getting the people to know you, kind of building a brand for yourself. And I've met people who I was like, you're fucking amazing to work with, right? Yeah, like you're mind-blowingly good at your job. You're super passionate about the
Thank
plays,
you
about
so
the stories.
Oh, sorry, you were mid anecdote. Sorry. That's my vanity speaking.
You're on LPL. You think you no.
Sorry, I'm just trying to make jokes. Keep going.
No.
I apologize.
No. Come on, man.
I've had a couple of beers, all right. I'm feeling Larry.
Yeah. I love the interjections. Whenever any other way. What I'm saying is, I used to be in a band for a really long time as well. It was the same, that I feel like casting is just like a lot of artistic industries where you can be the most talented motherfucker out there, but if you're not lucky as well, or if you don't like make the right impression of the right people at the right time, you can still get fucking nowhere. Which I think, like, again, is how a lot of real life stuff works. But if I get my legal degree, I'm bound to find like a fucking job at some point, right? Like I'll get a job as a legal intern and I can become a lawyer. Right? It might take a while, but if I get my degree, generally, you know, a terrible job market and general dysphoria in 2021 notwithstanding, you will be fine, right?
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, man.
This is real cynical all of a sudden.
I want to get time, dude.
I want to give us
definitely okay right now. Yeah.
I want to give us like caveat to all this though, because I feel like, so when I came up in my kind of beginning stages, it was like, look, we were casting Ireland and stuff like that. Now, I did 100% get a lucky break because, right, Dublin was beside where we were casting, which then got me over to the UK, which is where I first met Munch. But the entire step from leaving Ireland to LPL, I have not done a finals. Like, I have never been the best caster at any of these events, or at least the caster that was in the old boys club, or the caster that was part of the crew or anything like that. What I did was I worked my fucking bollocks off, where I was like, look, you know what? Fuck that dude. I know I'm better than this person or that person, or whatever the fuck it might be. It's like, I'm going to be better than them. I went back and I was like, right, I need to know this better. I need to speak that better. I need to be able to bring in this terminology. And then I actually worked on it to build up. And eventually it got to the point where I was like, look, I did the UK scene. And then they were like, oh, well, actually, you're relatively okay. Can you come across to Sweden? And we did an event in Sweden. And then they were like, hang on, this dude is actually pretty okay because he's improved since the UK to Sweden. Let's bring him in then, because Will Atwood, fantastic dude, was like, hey, we need a guy at EU Masters. Because Foxtrot was sick. Foxtrot got sick and was like, hey, can you fill in for a week? I was like, yeah, I'll fill in for a week. And then they're like, shit, Rob has improved since we had him at the UK level, since we went to Sweden and back. It's like, fuck, let's bring him on next time. So then I got onto EU Masters next time. And I don't want to discourage people by saying, yeah, well, it has to be old boys club where you have to get involved. But the entire way through me from Ireland to LPL was I haven't done an EU Masters finals. I haven't done a Swedish finals. I haven't done a UKLC or NLC, whatever it might be, finals. It's just a case of I kept working my ass off and saying, I know I can be better than what I am, and I'm better than what I am now. And I've gotten towards LPL. And I'm now in LPL, and I haven't done an LPL final, but I'm going to get Worlds because I know that I'm capable of getting Worlds. I'm going to keep working my ass off until I get that.
Hell yeah.
I just want to clarify, like, I definitely agree with you, Rob, in that I don't think that you'll get there without, like, the hard work, the tenacity, the talent, all the things you're describing. And I don't think luck...
This wasn't me discrediting you, by the way. I just don't want to dishearten people.
I just want to clarify again, right? Like, I'm not discrediting the... But I do feel like if luck is not on your side, you can still be fucked.
Yes,
that's more.
And
I do
agree.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think it's both. And I think that one thing that everyone here I know has in common, but then also across the board, is that you are all really hard workers. And I will say that is the one thing that if someone, like, you can call me like ugly or stupid or whatever, like, that's fine. But if you say I'm not a hard worker, I will push back because I'm like, no, that is actually objectively not true. But I will say this, another thing, I guess, to make people feel better is I was told by people that I should never be on camera ever by bosses in previous jobs. If me, who was apparently, who was apparently so bad that I was never supposed to be on camera.
On behalf of everyone at Bevvies With The Boys, that's objectively not true. Fuck whoever said that. You can suck a dick. You can never watch the show again. Fuck you.
Do it.
Yeah.
We support you, Emily. You should be on camera. Fuck whoever said that.
Well, no. My point is, like, I obviously, like, worked really hard to get to the point where, you know, like, my response is like, well, that sucks. Better get good at that then.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I haven't met many people who have made it to the point they're in esports that haven't done 16-hour days. Like, essentially just gone, hey, look, I mean, that's it.
Okay, guys.
Like, I still don't sleep. Everyone makes fun of me for this. And it's weird because I don't want to lionize this either, because I don't think you should have to, like, kill yourself physically to be able to make it, right? Like, I don't like that. But, like, if someone's asking me, like, oh, like, what do you think? Like, how do you think you've been able to, like, quote unquote, make it in esports?
Yeah, how much do you want it?
It's like, okay, I don't sleep and don't have a social life and don't take care of myself, and now I'm here.
Sorry to say it, but that is actually just how it works. Like, I feel like I'm the cynic in this conversation once again, but like, I don't want to say you have to kill yourself to make it. And I don't think that's true, because I think there are definitely people that have made it that have not, like, lived, breathed, and everything esports. But I will say, if you are not inherently super talented at everything, you have to work harder than everyone else. Yeah. That's just the way that it works. Like, if you want to be better than everyone else, you either have to be better by default or you have to work really hard. And 99.9% of people are not better by default.
Yeah, it's the same as I think one of the very few examples that I can think of was like Captain Flowers, who got, like, even he, obviously he still works, like, really fucking hard, right? But like, if I remember correctly, he got discovered of, like, a random YouTube video that, like, just popped off, and then people were like, wait, who the fuck is this guy? I might be wrong.
I think he did Academy as well, but I think a key thing about Captain Flowers is that he's incredibly naturally talented. He also works really hard. Like, he's streaming every day. Like, again, this guy clearly practices regularly. This guy's clearly, like, figuring out like great phrases to say during casts. I certainly don't want to take away from anyone in the industry.
No. But I mean, like, I can't think of that. That also says a lot, right? Like, obviously, you don't get to do a fucking world finals without working your ass off, right?
Exactly.
Like, let's be honest. And I'm a big fan of Captain Flowers, so don't let that be misconstrued.
Who isn't, right?
I mean, right? But I feel like I already made this comparison earlier, and I feel like in a lot of ways, casting is like being a musician or being an artist of any form, where you're going to practice literally thousands of fucking hours, and you're going to get no payoff, right? I did, and this was I'm going to preface this, but I want to hear all of yours. What was the stupidest thing you did? I casted a solo. I did a solo cast for 8 hours of Overwatch. That's like
That's rough.
if you've
That's real fucking
casted
rough.
Overwatch has no downtime. It's
No,
not
it
like
does
fucking
not.
League. There's none, right?
Oh.
Like there was. What? So everyone, what was your like?
I'm gonna go next if that's okay, because I'm
Yeah,
bursting for the
do it.
loo, so I'm just gonna blast it out and then I'm
Do
gonna
it.
fuck off to the toilet. My thing was that I went and did an event in Wales that was MCM Comic Con. Well, correction, it was not MCM Comic Con. It was Comic Con. It was not the official one. It was like a Welsh Comic Con. And I went there with a guy called Synergy, who old school UK esports people will know him. He was jungler for the Birmingham team on NUAL, became a caster. Me and him did some casting together. And we went down to this event in Wales. I asked Vedius to come with me. He said no. He was in the UK scene at the time. SMH. Shame on you, Vedius, if you're listening. Because he was in Wales, by the way. I'll move on, but I'm just throwing it out
He's not
there.
salty at all.
Yeah. I don't hold grudges. Don't worry about it. So me and Synergy go down to Wales. And the fucking internet doesn't work. Literally, the internet doesn't work for this event. League of Legends, as you probably all know, does not have local games. You cannot do that shit. So I have to, there is not enough staff at this event to figure this problem out. They had never even considered that the internet wouldn't work at this event. And we're at a school, so I'm not that surprised that the internet was terrible, because this is 2007 or something. So I literally have to go and fix the network for these guys so that the internet works well enough that we can't have the 5v5 custom games that we were anticipating, but we can have 2v2 custom games. That's the level of internet that we can manage to uphold. So not only do I fix the internet for this event, I also rewrite the rulebook so that we can run the event with 2v2 tournaments instead and still give away this pile of prizes that Razer gave us for this specific event that suddenly can't happen anymore. So I spent the entire day, or half of the day, figuring out how to rearrange this event and fix everything, and then cast for the second half of the day. And that was the dumbest shit I did as a caster.
Nice.
There you go.
I love it.
I gotta go
Great
pee.
story.
Okay.
I'm gonna say that mine was when I was at, I think it was it was post GG Chronicle at Paravine. It was post Kaboom winning that game, which seems like nothing now, but was a massive deal when it happened at Worlds.
Yeah, I remember
And-
that. It was everyone was like,
Yeah, what? A minor region team be the top team in Europe? What the heck? And so I'd started covering CBLOL, and I was following all of their off-season tournaments and then going into their regular season tournaments. And what I would do, because while I had already adjusted my sleep schedule, so I slept very little, just generally, but I would have it so that I would get up for Champions Korea, and then I would go to work in the morning, and then I would take the morning shift basically, because no one else wanted the morning shift anyway, because no one likes to get up early. So I was like, whatever, I don't want to close, I'll open. And then I would nap in the afternoon and then get up for LCK. But in order to keep up with CBLOL, what I did was, because where I worked we sold HD projectors, I would hook it up to my phone and have the CBLOL games going as the demonstration of the projector in the so that I could get a handle on okay, here's what's going on, I need to go back and watch this, and then also do my job that I was making money doing.
But how long did you do that? Because I was complaining about I did this 2 or 3 times, or maybe.
Oh, I did this for an entire split, at least.
How
I
are
also
you?
did this at Worlds.
How are you alive? That's not.
I don't. It's a mystery, honestly. I don't take care of myself either. I forget to eat, and I live off of coffee.
Man.
My friends joke that I'm gonna get scurvy, the
Oh.
God. You know.
Oh no.
This is why, also, as an aside, this is actually why I really don't want to lionize doing this. I don't want to be you should not have a social life and do this, and this. If you do, and the reward, the reward of getting somewhere, the reward of knowing that you've improved, etc., like is enough for you, which it is for me. Like I don't have any regrets. That's good. But like I don't want to go to someone who's just starting out and being like, you have to kill yourself, you're not gonna sleep, forget going out with friends ever. You know, like I don't want to tell someone that because A, it's like not an optimal way to live. And B, like if you like, I don't know, that's a choice that everyone has to make. And I also think there are probably people more talented than me that don't have to work. So
don't discredit yourself. You keep doing it.
I can't talk about this without it's an automatic response. I really do need to stop. I'm sorry.
No. You don't have to apologize for it. But like I do the same. When people give me compliments, I start giggling. It's a running meme in the Benelux scene. It's really bad. But like I get it, but also don't. You're great. Please stop. But you're not going to. Just like I'm not going to start giggling.
No, it's like it's already like coded into the way. I speak.
No, I get it.
I just want to echo Emily's points there, where I think you kind of got to figure out what your own threshold is for this, and what you're willing to sacrifice. Like I've had relationships that went under. I've had friends that have lost touch with that have just been because, hey, well, like 2 years ago I was working in finance, so I was working in the bank full time. And then coming home and doing esports. So I was esports in the morning before I went to work, and then I was esports in the evening, and then I was spending Saturday and Sunday doing esports. So the entire thing revolved around the whole esports thing. But coming back to the original point was I've had probably the most stupid thing I've done was, and I'm not going to name names, and I'm not going to give specifics, but the person, I've told this story before, and the person knows who I'm talking about. So as I went to finish up in the bank...
It's going to be me now. I'm ready.
No, it's not. So as I finished up in the bank, I was looking for a multitude of work, which is kind of... So before I joined LPL, I was covering, I think, 8 games before I joined LPL, from a casting perspective. But I had never done CSGO. So I'd maybe done 20 hours of played 20 hours of CSGO. 16 of them were gun game where I'd messed around. I had no idea what anything was in that game. But a guy I knew hit me up and was like, hey, a friend of mine was like, look, I have an event that's going on. We're looking for just a host. I know you can host. Are you cool to just host the analyst desk for a CSGO event? And we'll have 2 analysts who will actually talk about the whole thing. I was like, yeah, cool. Of course. No problem. I can do that. And he's like, great. But I was like, look, I don't know anything about CSGO. Can I grab you for like an hour or 2 hours and we can kind of flesh out, what to expect and that kind of stuff? He's like, of course, no problem at all. So this was 2 weeks before we flew to the event. A week before the event, I've been pestering him to try and get a conversation going. A week before the event, he messaged me and go, hey, bud, sorry I've been really busy. I just found out this is a 2-man analyst desk. So you have to be an analyst. For a game I have never looked at. I don't even know what the meta is. I don't know what this game is about. So I go, right, I don't know if I can do that. He's like, look, it'll be fine. It'll be totally okay. Don't worry about it. So we get to this, and I'm like, look, I really need to sit down and have several conversations with you as to what the hell I'm supposed to talk about here. And he was like, all right, look, I'm a bit busy for the next while. I've got an event, but 3 days before the event, I'm off. Let's just sit down then and we can talk through this and I'll make you an expert. I was like, I don't believe you, but let's do it. So I messaged him 3 days before the event. He goes, hey, I'm really sorry. Another event came up. What we'll do is the games are on Saturday. We fly on Friday. Or on Thursday. I will sit down all day with you on Friday and we will just watch VODs after VODs and I will make sure that you're okay. And what we'll do is, look, it'll be totally fine. So we get to the event and we're sharing this room and I go, look, I'm sitting there. I've got my laptop out. I've got my notebook. I'm ready to go. I was like, look, I need to sit down and do this thing. We need to figure out what the fuck is going on here. And he walks out in a towel and his shorts. And he's like, oh, I'm actually going to go take a quick swim. I'll be back. So what I was thinking was, and he then tells me that what he wants to do is to have myself and himself, we'll sort out what our initial analyst desk is going to look like. We'll sort that out. We'll write it down and you can just repeat everything that we've said. And then we'll get to in between games, and I'll tell you what I'm thinking during the game, and then you can bounce off me and we'll get this going. It's like, I'm not comfortable with this. This has gone way beyond my level of comfort right now. I still don't know how this game works. I barely know the name of the guns. I don't even know the callouts for CSGO at this point, and I'm supposed to be an analyst. And this is tier 2, by the way. This isn't even like a small time event. Like, I'm casting like really fucking good CSGO players. And they're like, it'll be fine. He fucks off. We wake up the next day. We get the analyst desk set up. We do actually go through what this entire thing is going to look like from the get-go. I'm like, okay, we've got this. It's going to be fine. We got through the first desk segment. It actually was somewhat legit. And I'm like, cool. And I turn to this guy beside me. I'm like, right, first game's up. What are we going to do? And he whips out his laptop. Apex Legends had just been released this weekend. And he decided during the games that he was going to play Apex Legends. And he's like, you look at the games and then we'll figure it out. So I have no fucking clue anything about this game. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So I'm looking, we get to the second analyst desk where I'm supposed to be going. I was like, yeah, so I suppose this team was aggressive. And I was like, please take this fucking pitch, because I don't know what the fuck is going on anymore.
His life grenade away from me, please. Someone.
And to be fair to him, he ran away with it. He knew the teams. He was fine. But literally my entire conversation was like, I guess they're slightly defensive. I suppose they could have been more aggressive, less aggressive. Maybe they should have said, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. So we get to the end. This is this 8-day event, by the way. It doesn't get any better. Like, I am fully invested in this event. And we get to the end of the week, and the tournament organizer turns around to me and is like, do you know what? I'm really glad we found you. I've never heard of you before, but you really know your shit. I was like, I have no idea. I've been bullshitting the entire 8 days. I've had no clue how this game functions. I don't know what's going on. I've been left high and dry.
He's like,
this is fine.
He's a true Irishman. He's kissed the Blarney Stone. He's got the gift of the gab. This is what they all talk about. And I will say, as a freelancer, an 8-day event, whether you know your shit or not, that's the dream. That is the dream as a freelancer that's getting a day rate. Actually, like, that's the real shit.
No, because what happened with this event was I took a hit on my rate because they said, hey, if we like you, we'll bring you back. I had a wedding for the...
No, you fell for the...
I had... No. So what they actually did was they actually said, yeah, we'll bring you back. They set me up and said, hey, we want to bring you back. I had a mate's wedding and I was a groomsman for the wedding. And they said... oh, well, sorry, we can't have you back. I mean, we need to get someone else, and then I was done.
That's the mistake you've made, isn't it? We talked about this earlier. You can't have a life and expect to succeed in esports.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. You can either dedicate literally your life and soul to esports, or you can perish. Those are the two options.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't know how to follow that story up.
Hey guys,
like I don't even know how I would have dealt with that, honestly.
I have no idea.
Guys, we're talking to sponsors. If we get our sponsorship deals figured out, we can definitely pay you. I've heard that one repeatedly.
For sure.
That's a classic.
All right. Well, I don't want to shit on tier 2 esports too much. I don't want to jade the 20 viewers that we do have.
This wasn't tier 2. This is like authentic Benelux productions.
Okay, tier 3. Sorry,
no one cares. This is like tier. I don't know how far the numbers go. I mean, they go infinitely. So
that's true.
Yeah,
there are infinite numbers between 1 and 2. So who knows? It's all down to interpretation. With that said, I think it's about time we round out this episode because we're heading just over 2.5 hours on this episode. So I think it's about time we close things up. Thank you so much for joining us here on Bevvies With The Boys. I'm going to give you guys now a platform to just shout out anything you're doing right now and what's coming up for you guys in the future. So Chronicler, we'll start with you. Then we'll go to Emily. Then we'll go to Dagda. And then we'll round out the show. So Chronicler, over to you, my friend.
Yeah, thanks to everyone that I've been working with for the last couple of years. Thanks to everyone close to me, including my colleagues at the LCK, who've already been amazing. And everyone, I want you to go when you hear this or afterwards. First listen to everyone else, their shout outs, their exits, and then you go to youtube.com and then you type in "Run Away With Me" by Carly Rae Jepsen, and you'll be treated to the
It's a
greatest
banger.
pop
Oh
song.
yes.
It's a bang.
Oh yes. I
Right,
second
and
this.
"Run Away With Me," Carly Rae Jepsen. Just remember that, right? Like, none of this "Call Me Maybe." It's a nice song. We all know it.
It's pretty great.
Please run away with me. Thank you. That was it.
It's some killer
yeah.
saxophone.
Thank you.
I'll admit it. Emily, over to
I've
you.
not heard that song, so I'll look it up.
Seriously,
yeah,
big
you can
thumbs
go
up
watch
from
banger.
me.
it,
It's banger.
Another
honestly.
one.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at League of Emily. I will typically be on the analyst desk, hopefully. I don't know when exactly, usually, so hopefully they'll like me enough to keep me on. Shout outs. I mean, there are like so many people that have supported me over the years and like told me that I could do things when I myself thought that I couldn't. So they know who they are, and I am like eternally grateful for you believing in me. And then generally the League of Legends community was like so nice and so receptive this past week. I was honestly like shocked. I was fully prepared for everyone to just hate me off the bat. So thank you so much for everyone's kind words from this past weekend, and thanks to you guys for having me on. This is really fun.
Thanks for coming on. It's
Yeah,
honestly
of
our
course.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Dagda, over to you, mate.
Well, I'd like to shout out what I'm doing, but I'm not even on the LPL anymore because of my internet. So, what I'm going to say is,
Daggatron incarnate.
yeah. So I'm going to say is, please give a follow to Chronicler. Please give a follow to League of Emily. These guys are going to be absolutely amazing. Emily has already killed it on the LCS. Chronicler is going to kill on the LCK. So please give all your love, all your support to these fantastic new additions to the League of Legends broadcast community, and you will get paid tenfold in the amount of content and everything else that these guys are going to put out.
Yeah, it's honestly like I cannot recommend